Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Kel. What's up? Barakut et Yahweh de Hamburak. Adabaruk Yahweh de Hamburak de Lalam Wayed. Adabarukata Yahweh de Elohenu Melech Halam. Yerishere de Bekor Banu Nemekol. Ham Mamayim de Venatan Manu de Et Torah To. The Barukata Yahweh de Notain Naha Torah. Barukata Yahweh de Elohenu Melech Halam. Asher Natan Lanu. The Torah, the Dimet, the Wekaye, the Olam, the Nata, the Batokinu. Barukata Yahweh the Notain Naha Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, for you are the blessed one. Blessed are you, Yahweh, for you are the blessed one for all eternity. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, the King of the universe, who selected us from all the peoples and gave us his Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, the giver of the Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, our Elohim, the King of the universe, who gave us the Torah of truth and planted eternal life within us. Blessed are you, Yahweh, for you are the giver of the Torah. Praise be to the Holy One of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Praise be to the Holy One of the creation of all the earth and all that dwells therein. Praise be to the Holy One who's given life to all creatures and to humanity. Bless the name of Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of YISRAEL. Thank you guys today for coming on the Shabbat. It's a beautiful day. It's wonderful.
Excellent.
It's an excellent day today. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One. We were able, you guys, when I say this, I'm not saying this from a religious posture, you know. I really literally mean what I'm saying. You know, for us to be able to be in his world and under his care and being in his existence and being in his presence, it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing to be able to have this opportunity to be able to call upon the name of Yahweh. Not everybody had an opportunity to call upon his name. And even today, there's a group of people all over the world who has no clue of who this master of the universe is. So we have a lot to be thankful for today on this Shabbat. You know, it's not only that he's given us breath and life, but he's made provision for us. He's protected us. He guarded us while we were asleep last night. He made sure all was well with us. He's letting things move and happen in our life and allowing different circumstances to take place in our life in order to bring about the desired outcomes that he's looking for from us. We've been born for a purpose, and a reason. And, you know, in the history of the people of Yisrael, more specifically from Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we've been reading about them in their life and what they've been going through and how this relationship with them has been developed over hundreds of years. You know, we know that Abraham lived quite a bit, and we know that Yitzchak lived, so he's like 184. And we know that Sarah had a pretty extended life, 126 years. You know, we understand these things. So, you know, the purpose of us going through the Torah portion is for us to develop a relationship with the Creator. Moshe is the one who wrote the Torah. Okay. He wrote the Torah. There's discussions about, oh, well, he got it from someone else. He got it from the Kemet, you know, the Africans who were in Egypt, and this story has been around before, and this is nothing new. And the laws that he received were laws that, you know, some other culture wrote, and there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. So you ask yourself, well, how do you know? You know, why are we looking to this? How are we having confidence and putting our trust into these words? And the only answer that I can have for you today is that it's not something that we ourselves have done, right? But this can only be from the Holy One, the King of the universe, who has given us the opportunity to come to know him. Okay. I read the New Testament all my life, and not one place in it is the name of Yahweh ever mentioned. I went all my whole life sitting under Christmas trees and, you know, eating Thanksgiving hams and, you know, kissing people under mistletoes and all these different types of things. And never at one time has the name of Yahweh ever been mentioned to me, and it's never been given to me. So I know that the Bible itself has not been able to reveal this truth to us. So this is by divine nature. All this is by divine nature. Okay. And we want to give the recognition to the one who has allowed us to, you know, have this relationship, which is the Holy One of Yisrael. His name is Yahweh. Some people call him Yahuwah. Some people call him Yahweh. Some people call him Yahweh. I would say this: no one knows. Okay, and this is from a scholarship standpoint. No one knows what the true pronunciation of his name is. No one knows that. Okay, and because they don't know it, there's a lot of, you know, debate about it. But it doesn't change the fact of we understand what the actual letters mean. It means he who exists. That's what it means. He who exists. So the Holy One of Israel is the creator of the heavens and the earth, but also too, he's the one who exists. He's the breath. He's the one that has made everything possible. In my Torah portion this week is called Yoshev. Okay. And Yoshev means to dwell. And it's giving us an idea about how our father, Yaakov, dwelt after he left his father-in-law. Okay. In the Torah portion, I saw there the words Yiyeh, which is the same root that's in Yahweh's name. And I'm going to show you something right quick. Let me just get right here. Does anyone know what this word just told myself. What does the word Yosef mean? Because that's who we're focusing our attention on this week. Does anyone know? What is it? What does his name mean? Anyone? Well, his name is very simple. His mother named him, and she named him Yosef because Yosef means to add or to remove. Okay. Also has an extended meaning to mean to increase. Okay. That's what his name means. Okay. And that's the he. And then safe here is to add or remove. What we find in the story of Yosef is that his brothers felt a certain way about him. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about Judah today. We're going to talk about, we talked about Tamar earlier this week. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about Joseph, because the time and where we're at right now, Joseph is he's the center of this discussion for this week. But there's a lot of things about him that we have never seen before. And I want to share those things with you. Okay. So Joseph's name means to increase. It means to add. And it also means to remove. Okay. And feel free at any time to ask any questions. So then Elohim remembered Raquel, and Elohim listened to her, and he opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son and said, Elohim has taken away. Elohim has taken away, meaning removed, okay, my reproach. She was under reproach because, as Sister Akoti Jeannie would say, she would say a woman who could not have a child was literally considered to be worthless. A woman who was not able to produce children was one that was considered worthless, and that was because she was barren. And anytime you have something barren, like a field or a womb, then it's considered worthless. Okay, there's no value whatsoever. So Yahweh, and then she said, Yahweh shall add to me another son, meaning also too. That's why she named him Ad. It's because Yahweh did add another son, and the other son that he added, his name was called Ben Oni, which the father turned around and named him Ben Yamin. Okay. This one right here is my grief and my suffering. This one right here is the son of my strength of my right hand. Okay. Or the son of the south. That's not part of our topic today, but I just wanted to let you know what those names mean. Okay. Make sure you have a pen and paper handy today so you can write down these things. So again, as I've discussed with you before, names actually mean things in the Hebrew culture. So it means here to add or to remove, to take away. That's where his name is that, okay? Where is it? We've discussed this before. We talked about hate. This is a big deal in the Hebrew culture. This is huge. This is one of the biggest things that we are dealing with, okay, which is hate. It's not only an emotional response, okay, but it's something that all of us, including the Holy One of Israel, will manifest, okay? And this will be manifested in two ways, okay? The first way is going to be in a positive way. And in the second way, it's going to be a negative way. Okay. You say, well, how can hatred be positive? And I'll answer that question. Hatred in a positive way, it would be understood that you and I have to be able to put some, what we call some distance between that which is what they call tov, which is good, and that's what tov is in Hebrew, T-O-V, and that which is ra, which is evil. Okay. We have to make a decision, and we have to put some distance between these two. Okay. We can't have both in us at the same time. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You can't both be tov and ra at the same time. This is not what Yah's intention is for Israel. Okay. The only one who has the ability to execute Ra in a way that is supposed to, and Ra means not only evil, but it means that which is bad or dysfunctional. Okay. Yah brings about things that are bad, and he brings about things that are dysfunctional. And it's more for the people who are practicing that which is Ra. So Yah gives everybody what they deserve according to their conduct. So in this Torah portion this week, this word hate was used a lot. It was used a lot. And I want you to understand again that the way that you say this word is called sa-ne. Okay. Sa-ne. Don't be intimidated by the Hebrew letters. And, because you're like, well, how does this here, reflect into this? They don't look alike. It's completely different. So in the English, they tell you that this is just an emotion, and is based on, how you, emotions or how you feel. And how you feel at a certain time about certain things. So, this is all relative. It depends on how a person wants to see it. Okay. But in the Hebraic understanding, okay, because that's where we want in the Hebrew, or what you would call the Hebraic understanding of hatred, is called sa-ne. Okay. So now I'm going to break it down and tell you what this is. And this is part of our Torah portion. Again, you say, well, I already know this. Some of you may already know this, but it's good for you to get a refresher so you can understand everything else we're going to be talking about today. That's how you say it, sa-ne. Okay. Let me write that down. I'll give you a moment to write it down. Sa-ne. Okay. Oh, I said I was going to give you a moment. So sa-ne. Oh, geez, what's going on? Hebrew lesson. This is a S. This is the A right here. And this is an N in Hebrew right here. And this is the A right here, these two dots. Sa-ne. Okay. It's easy. So what does it mean? What does hatred mean? Hate means, as you can see, I have a picture here. What do you see?
Thorns.
It's distant.
Yes, you see thorns.
Thorns.
This is right. So what the creator is going to tell us about hatred is that it has to do with a thorn. Okay. A thorn bush, again, was used for several reasons. Okay. One of the things that a thorn bush is used for is for protection. You're like, how? Do you use it as a weapon? No. So protection about what? To help guard. Okay. And you to guard something which would be called sheep or your cattle or whatever, and goats, or, your herds or whatever. And so what the shepherd would do is he would take these thorn bushes that you see in this picture, and he would build a barrier around the animals at night. So when they go to sleep, they would be protected against predators. Okay. Right. So now we can see the connection with hatred. So would you say that a shepherd hates predators? Yes. A shepherd hates predators. Somebody tell me why.
Because they eat the sheep.
Thank you. They kill the life that the shepherd's trying to protect. Okay. This is why you got to be careful about what person that you follow, right? So some people said, are you the shepherd? I said, no, I am a shepherd. Okay. I'm a shepherd and I have sheep that Yah sends to me. Okay. I don't go out and pick these sheep. Yah sends these sheep to me. Okay. All of us are sheep. Okay. And Yah he's sending you to me. Right. He sends you to me because he wants me to protect you. Okay. So what I got to do as a shepherd, and I'm not on a power trip. Okay. I'm not in the building. I'm not begging you for money. I'm not telling you, you better listen to everything I tell you. I'm not saying it to you. I'm the type of shepherd that says that I'm going to care for you. I'm going to love you and I'm going to protect you. And if I see that your eyes are covered with wool, I'm going to go and I'm going to cut the wool away so you can see. Okay. If I see that you're wounded, I'm going to put oil on you and I'm going to make sure that you get healed. If your leg is broken, I'm going to wrap it up for you so you can put it straight. It might hurt when I grab it and I'm going to have to straighten it out, and then I'm going to have to wrap it, and I'm going to have you sit down and rest for a minute no one's going anywhere until you're healed enough to go on the journey, because I'm not going to leave you behind. That's what I do as a shepherd. So if anybody that you're trying to follow or try to understand who Yahweh is sending me to, you've been sent here. And I hate, like David said, no pun intended, David said, I hate all those who hate you. Okay, that's what he said in Psalms 135. You can look on 139. He also says it in Psalm 5, and Yahweh hates all workers of iniquity and transgression. He hates them. Okay. In our story, Yahweh killed and brought to death 2 of Yehuda's sons. Okay. And he didn't like and he didn't like Onan because what Onan did. Okay. Again, and this is just a recap, means city. That's where his name comes from. And a city represents darkness. And also Or represents being naked. Okay. Okay, so darkness, in which darkness always lets you know that there is no light. So this guy here, this firstborn of Yehuda, his name is and his mother was a Canaanite, and Yah killed him. People are like, well, why? Obviously, because Yah did not like him because of who he is and his character. And from Yahweh's perspective, in Yahweh's eyes, that's what it says. When it talks about Yahweh's perspective, it's talking about how Yah sees things. Okay. So Yah sees and he hears. That's why he's the self-existing one. The second son, Onan, and we're going to go all over the place today. So I don't have any set schedule. I don't have anything written down. I don't do that because I don't believe that the Holy One of Israel wants his people to be taught like that. He wants his people to understand that wherever we need to go, we're going to go. Okay. And wherever we need to rest, that's where we're going to rest. We're going to do what Yahweh says. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Because that's what he called me to do. So Onan, this guy's name means strength. Okay. And vigor. And if you read your Torah portion, you know that since he killed this first one, Judah asked his other son Onan to go in to his brother's wife Tamar and raise up a child. This guy decided, I'm going to have sex with her, but I'm going to take the semen of the seed and I'm going to take it and I'm going to spill it on the ground. Okay. I'm going to spill that on the ground. All right. And I was talking to Rivka about this, which Rivka is my wife. And her and I had a discussion and we were going back and forth. And she was like, you know, because I said, this is what I said, and I'll say it again. And if your children are listening, you may have to explain this to them. Okay. But we're all adults here. Yah looks at the seed of a man very seriously. Okay. Very seriously, because the seed of a man is going to be used to be planted, because all seeds needs to be planted. Okay. It's going to be planted in the ground, in the soil. Okay. So what this guy did, and his name is Onan. Okay. And what Onan did, which his name means strength and vigor, but it also has a meaning to mean awon, and awon in Hebrew means transgression. And it means sorrow. And to bring about ruin. Okay. So what this guy did is he took the seed, which in this case is his semen, and he spilt it on the ground, on the dirt. Okay. And as a result of it, he ruined the opportunity for a son to be born, to raise up a firstborn for his brother, because he said, this seed is not going to be mine. So I'm just going to spill it on the ground. So Yah killed him for that. So I had to explain to my wife that men are different from women. Okay. We hold the seed. And if we take our seed is used for, it has to have intention. Okay. Sexual behavior, because this is a lot of times people don't talk about. Okay. Because it's uncomfortable, but we got to understand what the creator of the heavens and the universe is telling us. Yah created sex. Okay. He created sexual behavior. He did. And he knows exactly what he did, what he's doing. Okay. So with a man, when a man has sex or his sperm, his semen, there has to be intention behind sexual activity. There has to be intention. Okay. It has to be regarded with high regard. Okay. So what do I mean? I mean that a man cannot just go and just have sex to have sex. He has to actually draw near and approach a woman for the opportunity to bring forth descendants. Okay. That's what the seed is there, to continue the family line. Okay. So if we find a way to go outside of this original plan that Yahweh has by bringing descendants, okay, and we're just going around and having seed, spreading seed all over the place in different lands, which in this case are different women, there's no intention behind it. And that right there is called evil. That's Ra. And because it's Awon, and Awon has its name and root in this person named Judah called Anan, his son. Okay, because he had the opportunity, he had strength, and he had vigor. So his seed was strong enough to bring about the outcomes that Yahweh wanted. So from Yahweh's perspective, from Yahweh's eyes, and what Yahweh sees, Yah doesn't have eyes, by the way. He's using what they call it. I think I call it, what's the word again? I'm sorry, I'm getting older now. Oh, anthropomorphic. Okay, anthropomorphic meaning he's describing human characteristics to tell you a principle behind, like it says that he sees. Well, Yah created the eyes. That means Yah has understanding. He knows. Okay. So what I'm talking about is this intention. Okay. Which, by the way, in this Torah portion and prior to this Torah portion, there's a lot of sexual behavior that's not good. Okay. What did Reuven do? Somebody tell me, what did Yaakov's son Reuven, what did he do? What did Reuven do? What did he do?
And he slept with one of his father's wives.
Yes. Say Reuven, okay, he slept with one of his father's wives. Okay. What happened to Yaakov? So that happened to Yaakov, right? His son did this. What happened to Yaakov's daughter? Dinah. What happened to her?
She was raped.
He was raped. Is that sexual?
Yes.
Yes. And what he did was sexual. Yes. Okay. So we got sexual there. We got sexual there. We got sexual there. All right. Let's talk about, all right. So we got that now, because you guys, we're students. We're not religious people. Okay. We're not into that anymore. So if you came here today, if you came for me to, butter you up and get you excited, I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to feed you and I have to tell you what it is. Okay. So the sexual behavior is part of life. Okay. And Yah is talking, this is one aspect of what we need to find in this Torah portion today. Okay. So the intention, what happened to Joseph when he went into Potiphar's house? What happened there?
Potiphar's wife tried to seduce him.
She tried to seduce him to have what?
Sex.
To have sex with him. Okay. So this is this is part of it. Okay. How about Yehuda? What Yehuda didn't give his youngest son to Tamar, right? So we see Onan, it was sexual there. So he promised to give Shelah to Tamar, and he never did. Okay. She was supposed to be with him in a sexual way so he can bring forth seed. So what did Yehuda do? What did he do?
Having sex with his daughter-in-law.
He has sex with his daughter-in-law, not intentionally. He has sex with his daughter-in-law. So there's the other deal again, okay? Sex. And Tamar was part of that. You understand? By the way, this is just part of it, okay? When Yah brings us back to the land, okay, he says that children of Israel are going to ask me to increase their numbers. So how are they going to increase those numbers? Come on.
Through sex.
He's going to do it through sex. And even with the animals, he said they're going to ask me to increase their sheep. I'm going to increase their numbers through sex. You understand? Now, let's take out this word sex. And because that is a Western thought, okay? And because everything that's associated with it is negative and is filthy, and they made it out really nasty for us. So we're all like, ooh, because there's all different types of ways that they've shown us how to do things through pornography. They've shown us how to, to think about it and to reason within ourselves. The only time that you be sexual is especially high sexual times or through holidays, especially through, what you call romance. Okay. Which you can see in that word. What do you see in romance?
Rome.
Rome.
Yes. You understand? So they've done this. Okay. So this is why romance is connected to holidays. So before I came to this truth, my wife thought that I hated her because when I came to the truth, I wouldn't do anything for Valentine's Day. So she thought I hated her. That I don't love her. See? That's what she thought. She thought that I hated her because I wasn't excited about the Christmas tree. All right? And how does Israel thinks that Yah hates them too? Am I correct? Yes. Israel thinks that Yah hates them. They asked him, why don't you just kill us while we're in Mitzrayim? You hate us. This is what they told him. Is that what they said to him? You hate us. You hate us. You hate us. You brought us out here to kill us. You hate us. Yah doesn't hate Israel. Yah loves YISRAEL. Okay. But my point is that the idea of sexual behavior has to have the intention of building the family. That's number one.
Procreation.
Yes. Procreation. Thank you. Because as Key Stan just said, when the Creator created humanity, he told them to do what?
Be fruitful.
Be fruitful.
Be fruitful and multiply.
And multiply. All right. So let me ask you something. When you're a transgender, right? Are you doing this? No.
No.
When you're a homosexual, are you doing this?
Nope.
Or you're a lesbian, are you doing this?
Nope.
No. So what it is that they're what we would call, they're preventing themselves from doing this, being fruitful and multiply. The reason why Onan, which is Yehuda's son, did this is because he didn't want to build a family for his brother and keep the firstborn line going to descendants. See, he would have to literally say that my firstborn son that came out of me is really going to be for my brother's house. I'm going to build his house, and everything that I was going to give to my son, now it's going to be underneath my brother's name. So all the rest of my kids, my firstborn is not really a firstborn unless I go find another woman. And the firstborn of a man is the strength of that man. So he didn't want to give his strength to his brother. You guys follow what I'm saying? He didn't want to give his strength out of his body as a descendant to his brother. So women, you would think that when it talks about brother, then you think that you're excluded, and you're not. You're just a brother with a womb, okay? And let me explain. A brother is called an ACH, ACH in transliterated into these letters, okay? Which is an aleph and a ket. I know I'm writing sideways, forgive me. Here's an ACH, okay? And an ACH is a brother. The first letter means strength, and which is an ox. Okay, that's where you get it. The next one over here is a wall. Okay, so the strength of a wall, and the strength of a wall is used for what? What do you use a wall for? You use a wall. What'd you say? Who said that?
Protection, separation.
Yes, thank you. Protection and separation. So what a brother is, he's a strong wall of defense. That's why I named myself ACHI'KA David, because I'm your brother. I'm your strength. I'm supposed to be a strong wall of defense from anybody that's trying to come in and hurt you. So you was supposed to run behind me and be like, no, 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 no. My brother got my back. So, you know, there's a text in the Proverbs that said a brother was born for the day of adversity. And when I was a Christian, I thought it was saying that my brother was my adversary. And that's not true. A Hebraic perspective is your brother is for the day that you come across adversity. You're supposed to be able to run to your Ak as your wall of protection. Okay. So let me clear this out right quick. So that's what a brother is. It's the strength of an ox. Okay. So what is a sister? That's right. She's an Ak. But guess what we go put on her? We go put an OT. Yes. So she has a root in her. So she is a brother. But OT, Okoth, is a sister. That's all you're doing for a sister. I'll write it out again. Got a pink. Let me see if I can find a prettier color. The sister is called an Ak-koth. Okay. The root of the word is Ak right here, which is brother. A sister is literally like a brother, except for she's a female brother. She's the femininity of a man. That's all you are. Okay. You have just as much right to be respected as anybody else. You have just as much right like Tamar had, okay, in our story, in our Torah portion. She wanted the promise that was made to her. This man he told her something that he didn't follow through with, which we're going to get into in our latter part of the segment, okay? So you guys are sisters. You're ox, okay? So you are an ox, but you're a feminine ox. You still can be a wall of protection for your sisters. You understand? You're supposed to be running around helping your sisters, which are like your brothers. We're brothers and sisters. We're all part of Yahweh's what? We're all part of Yahweh's family. We're all part of his family. So that's why I'm taking time to explain what this is about. We see that the sexual nature is part of us, okay? But even within this, you and I have to find a way to guard the family. And one of the ways that we guard the family is through sexual conduct, sexual behavior. You understand? That's what Israel is supposed to do. If we look inside of Leviticus, chapter number 17, 18, and 19, you're going to find all these laws on what we can and cannot do. And they all have to do with sexual misconduct and behavior between fathers and daughters and sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers and aunties and all these things. Why? Because Yah has designed a book of instructions, listen carefully, okay, based upon the attitudes, hallelujah, on the people of this family. Go ahead, Rivkwa. Akoti.
Yes, and that is why he makes a distinction between us and the nations, because everything he mentioned in Leviticus was what the nations were doing.
Yes, great, excellent point. He says, don't be like the nations. The nations have sex with each other, with their children, and the fathers with their daughters, and it's a lot of molestation and all these types of things. My mother was a victim of child abuse. She was molested when she was a child, right? Because there was an uncle in the family that decided he wanted to molest people, okay? And she got molested and she didn't know that. And she was 5 years old. She's gone now. I can share her story. I can share her memory because I'm trying to show you what happens when you get misconduct of sexual behavior. And it destroyed my mother. It destroyed her, you know, not to go too deep into it, but I think it's important that if you mess around with a child, you mess around with their mind and you mess around with their sexuality, okay, you can really mess somebody up. My mother had a lot of emotional problems because of this. And then she found out later when she got older and she was talking about it, finally she came out of her shell and she told her sister about it. And guess what the sister said? I was molested too. She never said anything. So these things are happening in communities. And not only is that bad, but also what's going on when you watch your television programming and what you're watching and exposing your children to. I want to be clear. Do you understand? Today, because this Torah portion talks about dwelling, right? So if you think it's just about a story about where Yaakov dwelt, or you think it's a story about Yahweh telling us about the characteristics of a family and what happens when people dwell in different places. Everything happens to us depending on where we live and who we're exposed to. So back to the point, if you expose your child, okay, or your children to things that they should not be watching, you're disrupting what the Creator has made, okay? And this is a big deal. Adultery will get you killed, okay? Why would Yah kill a person for adultery? Is it just because this man decided he wanted to have sex with a woman? What's really behind it? Because sometimes he'll kill a man, you know, why kill the man that has sex with a woman? He doesn't kill everybody that has sex with a woman. He doesn't. Not in his laws. There's certain laws that allow you to. Yes, Rivka, go ahead.
Because it's a violation of a covenant.
Yes, it's a violation of a covenant. Now check out what I'm about to tell you. And I'm going to erase all this right quick so we can get a little clear on what we're talking about. So it's a violation of covenant, like Rivka just said, okay? But a man that lays with a woman, if she's not betrothed to someone, that man has to pay a fine for what he did, okay? And then he has to marry her, okay? If the father allows it, okay? Or he has to pay a huge fine, right, for what he's done. But if a man lay with a woman and she was betrothed, meaning she ain't even had sexual relationship with another man, they were just in contract, you know, saying, well, we're going to get married, but they never came together, commenced the marriage. Yah says, if a man slept with a woman who was in contract to be married to another man, Yah says that person dies. They're to be put to death. And there's circumstances in which she's to be put to death as well, depending on where it happened. If it was out in the field and there was no one around, then, you know, she was set free because she screamed and nobody was there to hear her, to save her and deliver her from this. So we see that the Yah understands the sexual nature of humanity, that this will happen. There comes a time in our lives where we go through maturity and then we're looking for mates. Okay. So the young people that are online understand, those who are watching live by YouTube, understand that your natural tendency is to look for someone to have sex with them. The question is whether or not you're going to do it within the contract or the confines of how the Holy One of Israel has described and outlined how this is supposed to be done. Okay. There's a word that Yah uses for sex or to be, there's a couple. One is called yada, and yada means to know. Okay, to know someone, to know your wife, and that means intimately. Okay. There's another one called yigash. I spelled that wrong. Yigash. And that means to approach. For what? For mating. There's another one called, okay, to draw near which is called, I think is Korev. Yeah. It's Korev. Yeah, Korev. Okay. That means to draw near. Okay. To draw near. Okay. To draw near for what? To be close. Okay. So Yada, Yigash, and Korev. Okay. So these words here are all words that have to do with what? Sacrifice and offering. Now I'm about to explain something to you. Okay. So sacrifice and offerings have to do with knowing Yah, coming to know him, drawing, approaching him, going to the what? When the priest would approach Yahweh, they would approach him, and where would they go to approach him? Where would they make these offerings? And what did they make it on? Come on, help me somebody.
Temple and
altar.
They went to a temple, which is a house, Yahweh's house. And they would go, and what's in the temple? Come on, follow me. Where did they put this offering?
Altar.
They put it on the altar. You hear me? Okay. So we got a house, we got an altar, which is a bed. You understand? I brought this out in the book of Hosea, chapter number 4, where Yah told Hosea, hey, go love that wife of yours who's been a whore, and tell her that I'm going to be with you, but it's going to be a while before I approach you. I'm not going to come near to you for some time. You're going to go into seclusion, and I won't have sex with you. Then after he says this, he tells the children of Israel that I'm not going to come near you. And then he says there won't be a temple, there won't be an altar, there won't be a sacrifice. There won't be any of those things. Okay. So and this is the reason, and the people that were bringing these offerings had to be what? Holy. And the word for holy in Hebrew is called Kodesh. Okay. Kodesh. They had to be holy if they were to approach Yahweh. And to be holy means to be free from any uncleanness, any impurity. You understand? So that's what it is. So why am I saying this? Because Yah's trying to explain to the children of Israel that just like you guys approach me from the temple and the altar, and you bring these sacrifices to me, okay, and they have to be a certain way, okay, they can't be defiled, okay, they have to be pure, and they have to be in the way that I told you. It has to be exactly the way that I said. And if Israel goes outside, and he told them to never make a what? He says, don't you ever go sacrifice on any other altar except for where I told you. But what did Israel do? Israel went to the high hills, and what did they make there?
They made sacrifices, graven
Yes,
images.
and what did they build altars?
Yes.
Yes, they did. So they set up a what? They set up a bed. And he said that you set up your bed and you opened yourself wide open to these other gods. So you've committed adultery on me. That's the reason why Yah will kill a man and a woman for committing adultery. If you're in contract with Yah, he's going to kill you if you go against him. Are you in a covenant with the Holy One? Are you in contract? Yes, you are. But we've broken that contract. Okay. What did they call, you guys know what I showed you this week, what Tamar's name means, right? What does Tamar's name mean? If you who are on the class, what does her name mean?
Palm tree.
She's a palm tree, and she was upright. Okay. So she's a palm tree. and she's a palm tree, and she's let me show you something right here. I'm gonna scroll up. You guys can see it. She's a palm tree. Jeez. Oh boy. Ooh, I praise the Holy One of Israel. Come on, where is it? All right, Sene, Sena, ending. Okay, here it is. All right, so here it is. This is what Tamar's name is. She's a palm tree. She's upright, right? That's what she is. She stands erect. She's a palm tree. The standing tall and thin is indicative of her character, her body shape. She was a tall woman, right? And she took a stand. She's upright. This is why she was fighting for her rights, because she was a nut. She went nuts off. She stood up for her rights. Okay. What did I want to show you? Okay, I'm going to show you the silly deal. Oh, what did they call her? What did they say that she was? What did she pretend to be?
Harlot.
She pretended to be a harlot, correct? Right?
Yes.
So when they called her a harlot, in the Hebrew, and I should show you that because I did say it, and I don't want to be guilty of not telling you. I told you that they said, where's this whore at? Where's this prostitute? Okay. I hope you guys are ready for this. They say she played the whore. Right? If you read your Torah board, you know that she played the whore. She pretended to be a prostitute, okay? For the sake of getting what she needed to get. But they sent it by the hands, and they put on, because she put on her widowhood. And where is the harlot? Okay, here you go. It says here in verse 21. Now, this is after, they went looking for Tamar, to give her the things that Judah said he promised to give to her, which is his ring, his rope, his cord, and his staff. And he asked the men of that place, he says, where's the harlot? That she was at this place, the place of eyes, because Ananim means the eyes. Where's this harlot at? Okay, the Hakwadesha. Okay, so let's see what Hakwadesha means. Oh, there you go. It's a whore. It's a harlot. Where's this whore? Where's this Hakwadesha? Guys see that? Well, let's see what the root of the word is. Oh, a temple prostitute. Oh, really? Okay. All right. So a kadesha is a whore and a harlot, and then they get this from being a temple prostitute. And so the word origin from the same is this word. The same word for Quadesh is from Kodesh. Okay. So a temple prostitute is the same word that you would use to be Kodesh, and Kodesh means to be set apart as holy and sacred. You see this? This is where you get your word Kodesh. Because even a whore or a prostitute, okay, is considered to be Kodesh. Set apart. See? So why would I bring this up? Why is it set apartness and sacredness? Why would Yah tell us that Tamar was considered, and they asked where's this whore at? Yah is trying to let us know that even if you're a whore, okay, or you're a prostitute, okay, even if you're a whore and a prostitute, you still have the same type of we should have the understanding that even a whore is set apart for service. That's what she's set apart for. Okay. And just like a whore is set apart for service, and she's isolated to that activity, Yah is telling Israel that you yourselves are Kodesh, not you're a prostitute, not in this negative. So you can see a negative way of looking at it. And then you can also see the positive way. So again, the positive about this is Yah's telling us that we could be Kodesh to him. Just like a prostitute sets herself aside for other men, Yah is saying that Israel needs to set themselves apart for me. Do you guys understand that? That's why it shares the same root. Yah is looking for you. If you're going to be committed to something, be just as committed as a whore. That's what he's Well, why are you laughing? Because I'm about to show you something. Okay. I'm going to show you something that you probably don't want to see, but you got to see it. Because that's what she went to a place called Anayim. I'm going to bring you to a place that you probably didn't want to go. I'm going to open your eyes today. Okay. To show you something. Okay. In the book of Ezekiel, in its chapter number, and I want you to write this down so you can go back and read it. I'm not going to read the whole chapter to you. Okay. I'm just going to read a portion of it to you. Okay. And I'm going to read, and I think I'm going to go here. Anyway, in context, he's talking about how his wife is, how he found her and he took her and he put clothes on her and he decorated her and everything. And she ended up being a whore. Okay. This is what it is. Okay. And how she took his sons and daughters. Look, let's just start there. Moreover, your sons, that's what he said. Okay, so listen what he's saying. Just starting 17. You also took your beautiful jewels made of my gold and my silver, which I have given you, and you made for yourself male images. Told you this is not going to be rated PG. Okay. You made male images. Okay, we know what these images are. They're phallics. Okay. You can look it up. They're obelisks. They're phallic symbols. The phallic symbol is a picture of a penis, okay, with which you continue to prostitute yourself. You took your embroidered clothing, okay, and you covered them. Covered what? These male images. You set my olive oil and my incense in front of what? In front of these male images, okay. What are we talking? We're talking about spiritual, sexual misconduct. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Misconduct. You understand? God just has me on it. I don't know why, but he's telling us this today. You took your embroidered clothing and you covered them, the male images. You set my olive oil and my incense in front of what? The male images. So where were they usually taking this olive oil and taking this other stuff to? They were taking it to where? Before they were taken to these male images. Where were they taking it? When they were dealing with Yah. Come on.
The temple.
They were taking it to his house, to his temple, to his altar, correct? So he says, and you took my food. So it's his olive oil, it's his incense, it's his food, everything he gave, which I have given you, which they get all of this out of what? They get all of that out of the land. Okay. And he said, my fine flour, my olive oil, my honey, that I have given you to eat. And you set it in front of them. In front of what? In front of these images. That is how it was. Okay. Praise the Holy One of Israel. Verse number, let's see, I want to continue it. Verse number 19, you took my food, you had given them my fine flour, my olive oil, my honey that I have given you to eat. You set in front of them as a pleasant aroma, to give a pleasant aroma. So now they're burning up this stuff that they're supposed to be burning in front of Yahweh. And Yahweh said, this is the way it was. Okay, this is how it was, says Yahweh, Elohim. Moreover, your sons and daughters whom you bore me, you took and sacrificed them to devour. For them, to devour in front of these images. Were these fornications of yours a casual matter? And here's the killer. They're my children. They're my children. And you handed them over and setting them apart for these idols. In all your disgusting practices, because that's what we're talking about. Okay, disgusting practices and fornications, you never remember the condition you were in when you were young and naked and exposed and wallowing in your own blood. Yah is the one who came and rescued Israel. Okay, so after all this wickedness, and more specifically, recognize he talks sometimes about Jerusalem and the city, because he's still, that's where Israel, that's where his house was. He says, so after all this wickedness of yours, woe, woe to you, says Yahweh. You built platforms, you made for yourself high places in every open space. You built your high places on every street corner. You're turning your beauty into an abomination and spreading what? That's right. You're spreading your legs. That's what you're doing for every passerby. You hear that? And multiplying your acts of fornication. Oh yeah, you had sex. This is an English word. Okay, that's English. You drew close. Okay, with your big-membered Egyptian neighbors. Okay, and engaged in fornication over and over just to provoke me. So they did it over and over and over again. So now I have stretched out my hand over you, and I've diminished your ration of food, because this is how I'm going to get rid of your fornications. This is how I'm going to get rid of you. If I take all the stuff that I need to take, now listen to me carefully, Israel. If I'm going to do anything to you, what I got to do to you is everything I mentioned about my oil, my honey, my milk, my offerings, and all these sweet aromas and everything I gave you. If only thing what I got to do now to get you off of being a whore is I got to take everything away from you. That's what I got to do. And put you at the mercy of those who hate you. So here we go. We found out that I'm going to put you at the mercy of those who hate you. Why? Because those who what? Emotionally hate you? Or no, the ones who are going to find a way to put distance and treat you as if you're a threat to them, which I didn't finish talking about. Okay. That's what a thorn bush does. So when someone says they hate you, they're saying you're going to cause harm to me, so I'm going to stay away from you. Just like when people say that they don't hate Yah, but Yah says the people that don't do my commandments hate me. Because they're saying that what I'm asking you to do is going to be harmful to you. Okay. So the daughters of the Philistine who find your lewd behavior revolting, because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about lewd behavior, kind of like, and I'm going to kind of go in a little bit about, without reading it, you've already should have read your Torah portion, kind of like what Potiphar's wife did. Her behavior was lewd. It was unbecoming of a woman. It says day after day, this woman set her eyes upon Joseph because he was a beautiful young man and he had a beautiful, it said he was tohar, meaning his shape. He had a beautiful physique. He had a beautiful face. He was beautiful. The same description that they gave his mother, that when Yaakov saw his mother, he said that she was beautiful, but Leah was tender-eyed, but it said she was beautiful. She was Yafeh, and she was Ta'ar as well. Thoar. Thoar means to have a beautiful shape. So this man had a beautiful physique. I'm talking about Yosef. And this woman, every single day, she said, lie with me. You know, Shikav, lie with me, sleep with me. She did this day in and day out every single day. And he would not listen and said, Lo Shema. He would not listen to her until she found him one day by himself. Okay. So this behavior was revolting. And what was revolting and which was lewd about it was this was a woman who was married to a very powerful, prominent man in Mitzrayim. By the way, Potiphar was not the chief of the butchers. Potiphar was the chief of executioners. He was the chief over all the executions that happened in Mitzrayim. So that's Joseph was in charge of all his stuff. You understand? So still unsatisfied, going back to this right here, it says, still unsatisfied, you acted like a whore. Also with the people of Ashur. So not only the Egyptians, but Ashur. Yes, you fornicated with them and you're still not satisfied, because that's what a whore does. And why am I using this type of language? Because this is what the prophets are talking about. that this is what Yah is telling Israel, that you have been like a whore because you've always gone to other people. You've been in my house, but you've been spreading your legs for every other god. Instead of you bringing me what I asked you for, you bring it to the people that you want to bring satisfaction to yourself, because with that individual, you could do what's really in your heart. You could kill your children, you know, you could do everything. And so how does that relate to where we are today? Well, it tells us that being in Christianity is exactly the same way. People choose the God that they serve because it allows them to be who they want to be. When you're a Christian, you can also be a homosexual. That's accepted now. When you're a Christian, you know, or even, I won't just talk about the Christians, I'll talk about even the Muslims. You know, you can have sex with a child. You know, that's part of their deal. They had Muhammad slept with a girl who was like 6 years old, and they can't deny it. They say, yeah, that's what it was at that time. They believe in child rape. Okay. That's what they believe in, molestation. That's why I have a problem with the Talmud, because the Talmud allows for someone to have sex with a child. I've already shown that to you before. That's what they have. You can have sex with a child. They said it's nothing but like poking a child, a finger in the eye of a child. That's all they said it's like. Okay. So you got to question those behaviors. But the God that you serve is the God that allows you to be who you want to be. So a person who's willing to kill and accept the death of the innocent is the same person that would kill an innocent child. It's the same type of mindset. Okay. So listen what he says. Still unsatisfied, you acted like a whore with the people of Ashur. Yes, you fornicated with them, and you still were not satisfied. Okay. You multiplied your acts of fornication, because this is what this whole chapter is about, with the land of the traders of the Kasdim, which are the Babylonians, and you still weren't satisfied. So this is a whore, okay, who loves to be with other men, okay, and other gods, okay. So Yah is using these nations, Kasdim, the Ashur, and the Egyptians, because that's where Israel found their comfort, but they were still not satisfied. They're just having fornication, okay. But he puts it in his language so I can understand what he's really talking about. He said, you are so weak-willed. And he's talking to his woman. You're so weak-willed. You have no staying power whatsoever. You're like Pharaoh's wife, every day after day after day. No matter what this man has done for this woman, no matter how many servants she had, no matter what her clothing was like, she had to have more. And that is the problem with YISRAEL, Yahweh Elohim. He says, you do all these things behaving like a shameless whore. Sisters, listen to me. Don't take what I'm saying as I'm talking to you as women. He's using the woman to show the example of what it is when a man tries to take advantage of a woman and how gullible a woman could be. Israel is a wife to the Holy One of Israel. These men, okay, more specifically, the leaders of Israel are the biggest whores than you've ever known. Yah said that I'm not going to, you guys are so whorish, this is in the book of Jeremiah, that I'm not going to even punish your daughters for being whores. Because what you guys like is you like old wine and you like old whores. That's what you guys like. You guys like to sleep with your son's wives, and you and your son will go into the same woman and have sex with her. Perversion, bringing what? Bringing dishonor and disloyalty to Yahweh's name. Okay. He said, but you're different. Building your platforms on every street corner, making your high places in every open place, yet you aren't like a whore because you scorn getting paid. That's how dumb Israel is. You're not like a whore because you scorn even getting paid. That's how stupid you are. Here's a wife who commits adultery. And she goes to bed with strangers. Look at it. It's right there. I know it's a tough topic. I know, it's a little uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Here's a wife who commits adultery, who goes to bed with strangers instead of her husband. But instead of receiving gifts like every other prostitute, you give gifts to all your lovers. You bribe them to come to you from all over the place and have sex with you. You are the opposite of other women. You solicit the fornication. You aren't solicited. You're not solicited. Oh, shoot. A whore that's going around and soliciting herself. They're not asking, hey, can I be with you? So look at the story of Tamar. Tamar was sitting, she went to the place called Anayim, meaning the place of the eyes. She had her face covered and all you saw was her eyes. She didn't solicit Yehuda. She didn't run up on him, hey, you want to be with me? You want to go inside of me? She didn't say that. You said you're being vulgar. No, that's exactly what it says in Hebrew. Okay, this is an adult class. She didn't solicit him, he solicited her. But Israel is a different type of whore. We're the whore that goes around to all the other nations and say, we'll pay you to have sex with me. And you pay them and they don't pay you. You're the opposite. Y'all saying I have a whore, you're different. I can accept that from a whore, but you're different. You're different. You're not even like a whore. So if you're worse than a whore, then what are you? What kind of woman is leaving the house and going out to have sex, find people to have sex with? What kind of nation is the people who will forsake their husband, who's been providing everything they need, to go out and find other gods to have sex with them, to give them your attention and inner being of yourself? There's a reason why the Holy One says, bring me your karbanos, which is the same word for drawing near to me. There is a reason why the Holy One of Israel asks you for the entrails. I'm asking you for the entrails. I'm asking for the entrails of the animals. Why? Why am I asking for the entrails? Why do I want the insides of the animals? Why am I asking you for the liver? And why am I asking you for the kidney? And why am I asking you for the fat around the kidneys and the liver? Why? Because they say that the liver and the kidney is the deepest part of the emotions of that animal. It's in the middle. It's at the core of who they are. That's where the emotions of people are, in their kidneys. I'm asking you for the deepest part of you so you can draw them in the midst of you. That's what I'm asking you for. It. It's not that I'm asking you for kidneys because I love kidneys. They represent something. That's what I'm asking you. Because with these things, they're called a karbanos. Quar, ba, no. Or carbon. You ever heard of carbon?
Mm-hmm.
Or korban? Meaning a gift. I'm asking you for this. That's what I'm asking you for. Because I'm asking you to give me the part of you, the deepest part of you, Israel. That's what I want. I'm looking for the deepest part of you. But what you've done is you've gone and given yourself to others. You're sitting around at a table with people that hate me. The people that have nothing to offer me. Look, you may not have grain. You may not have olive oil. We may not have honey. We may not have those things. But what you do have, give it to Yahweh. What do you have that you can offer him? I don't have anything. I'm not in the land. What do you have? What's in the possession? What do you possess? You got time.
Mhm.
You got time. You have your time. You have your resources. Don't give your resources to people that are going to go around and just mess it off. Take your resources and go learn something. Take your time as you have done today. Invest your time into Yahweh. Let's rebuild this relationship that has been lost over time. I took everything away from you to get your attention. If I take everything away from you, you have nothing to offer anybody. But we're still being whore-like. We're still being what they would call duplicitous. I wanted to share this word with you today because it was very heavy upon my heart. There's a word called duplicitous, okay? And duplicitous means to be treacherous, to be very deceitful, okay? That's what it means, okay? And the question is, what is a duplicitous person? I said, man, this is amazing what Yah has shown me, okay? There's a whole bunch of things that he showed me in the Torah portion. But one of the things that he has really shown me about this story is this. He's telling us that Israel, as a family, is a family of duplicity. They're a family of duplicitous behavior. They're the type of people who do things intentionally to mislead people, okay? Especially saying different things to different people or acting different ways at different times. The word can also describe the actions of such a person. It's a close synonym of is deceitful. There's a Hebrew word, okay? And I'm going to write it up here for us. I hope you're enjoying this. It's called beged. B-E-G-E-D. Or it could be bagad. Same thing. Beged is to clothe, this clothes. Okay, it means clothing. You use clothing for several purposes. Okay, clothing is used to cover the body. Okay, and the nakedness. That's what it's used for. Okay, this word beged is the same word for being deceitful. The same word as beged is the same word that was used for garment. So what's the connection between a garment and being deceitful and being treacherous and being duplicitous? I asked the Holy One. He says, look at the story. I said, okay. First, chapter number 37 talks about Joseph, and he had a garment that his father made for him, a tunic that covered his body. What did they do with that garment? Tell me, what did his brothers do with that garment?
His brothers put the blood of a goat, killed the goat and put the blood on the garment.
In order to do
make
what?
His father to deceive his dad.
Yes, to deceive the father. Because they, what? They hated. They hated their brother. And they knew that the father loved him based upon this garment. So they told him something that was different. They intentionally misled their father. Now, where did they get that behavior from? I'm going to tell you where they got it
from their father?
Yes, they got it from Yaakov. Yaakov misled his father. Well, it was for the blessing. He was duplicitous. And what did he put on to deceive his father?
The garment of that, so he looked like Esau.
Yes.
That hairy garment,
You
yes.
understand? A garment. We're not done. A garment. So the garment was used to deceive his father. Yaakov used a garment to deceive his father. You understand? His sons used a garment to deceive him. What did Uncle Laban do to deceive him?
Switched up daughters on him.
And how was
Or
he
wives.
successful in doing it? What did he put on them?
A veil.
He put a veil and a garment to guard who they were. To do what? To deceive. Because that's treachery. It's dishonest. What did Tamar put on when she went to go to Yehuda? What did she put on? And what did she take off?
She took off her grave clothes and put on a veil.
She took off her widowhood clothing garments, right? And put on a shawl and garments of a prostitute and veiled herself and covered herself up. In order to what? To deceive. You understand? Garments and baguette is used for deception. What did Pharaoh's wife take off of Joseph?
His garment.
She took his garment off and she held on to it. She put it on the side of her till her husband got home. And she called the people in there and said, listen, men, look, this Hebrew have come in here and he's come to make a fool of us and mock us. Saying that my husband brought this servant here to do this. So she took hold of his garment. When he ran off, that's what was left in her hand. And she kept the garment and she used the garment to deceive her husband. Yes, Stan.
So maybe you've already addressed this in another class, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Tamar is obviously the men would not do what they were asked to do. Okay, so she's dressed as a whore, but she's not doing that to have relations with just any man. So how is that some kind? In other words, she's got the tenacity to try to bring about what the men would not do. So how does this? Okay, I guess what I'm really asking is what standing then does she have with the master of the universe?
That's a great question. I have an answer for you. When it was brought to the attention of Yehuda that they said, hey, your daughter has been brought to his attention. Your daughter's played the whore. She's been, playing the whore. She's been out there prostituting herself. He said, well, let's burn her. Bring her out here. We're going to set her on fire. And that's it. So before they went to go get her, she sent those items back to him, which is his signet, which is a signature, and the cord, which means I bound and mean you twisted together, and the staff, which means that you spread out the staff, like mean you had a bed together. So she brought those articles of evidence to show that he was the father. And what he declared was this, and what we know, the master of the universe is telling us this story through Moshe the prophet to let us know that Yahweh did not condemn her because Yehuda says she's more righteous than I am. She used the garments not for the intention to be a prostitute. She didn't do that, right? She, even though it was deceptive, right? It had a good cause to it. Okay. Just like when we look at, when Yaakov did what he did, remember what he told his mother. He said, if you have me do this, if I do this, and I get caught, I don't want to be known to my father as a deceiver. Don't make me into a deceiver. So these are things that Yahweh has moved and moved people to bring about. So the King of the universe, the Holy One of Israel, is the one who brings this about. And one of the words that tells us that is true, which I'm going to show you after I finish showing you this, it's a word called Yiyeh. Okay, it's called 1961 in Strong's, 1961, and it's called Yiyeh. Okay, and it's a yod, it's a hey, it's a yod, and it's a hey. And then what's the difference? Well, Yah's name is a yod, a hey, and a wah and a hey. Okay, so these share the same root, and that means to exist. So this word here was used over 15 different times in this Torah portion. So every time you say Yiyeh, it means to exist and to come, they say to come to pass. So anything that comes to pass is because it's being moved by the creator. That's what it is. Because the yod is he, and then the haya means to come to pass, to exist. So if the self-existing one, okay, haya means to existing, right? So if the self-existing one, which is Yahweh, anything that does exist is because Yah allows it to exist. So that's how he feels about it. The Holy One of Israel never condemns Tamar for what she's done. If anything, he has Yehuda declare that she's more righteous than he is. And the reason why he declared that she was more righteous than he was, is because when Yehuda made a promise to her, he was being duplicitous.
I guess the thing is, when we read the description of her dressing up as a whore and sitting out on the street, to me, it sets up the wrong image in my mind, as if she's out there just looking for anybody, but that's not the truth of the story. That's not the
truth. No, because the Torah says that, and here's the thing, she wasn't sitting on the street. By a matter of fact, according to the Torah in the Hebrew, she was on a side road. She was on the side of a road too before you get there. So when they went back to that place, they asked a question. His friend asked him, said, "Where's that whore?" They said, "There's no whore here," because there's never existed a whore there. It was a side road before you go into Timnah. So she was on a side road. So what he left the course. She wasn't on the main strip. She was on a side road, and he saw her, and he approached her and said, "Hey," he propositioned her because he thought that she was a prostitute. So let's listen carefully. She did not dress herself up as a prostitute. Oh, you better hear me. She did not dress herself up as a prostitute. It doesn't say that. It says he thought she was a prostitute. All she did was take a shawl and wrapped herself around it and sat on a side road. So what does it tell you about what she knew about her father-in-law? She knew him better than he knew himself, right? Because his wife had just died. He comforted himself, and he was on his road trip, and he said, "Hey, your father-in-law is going down there to go shear the sheep." So she took off her widow garment and clothed herself, not in prostitution clothing. She clothed herself and veiled herself and covered herself up and went and sat on a side road. He calculated in his mind that she was a prostitute. He formed that his own opinion. And therefore, that's why he says, "Oh, she's more righteous than I," because he's the one who sealed that deal with her. There was no prostitute. You understand? They were claiming she was a prostitute. Okay. So the understanding here about what is duplicitous is the conduct of the children of Israel. This is what's part of that family. We see that with their father Yaakov. We see that probably with Reuven. He's duplicitous as well. So the whole time that he's running around with Bilhah and he's acting like everything is good, he's putting on the actions and the behavior as if there's nothing going on. He didn't do this outwardly in front of a whole bunch of people. It was found out. Because what? His actions, he acted differently. He wasn't who he said he was. And therefore, he lost his birthright because of that. Okay. We also see the duplicity of the duplicitous attitude with all the other sons of Israel. You understand? We see that with Yehuda as well. Okay. Another idea of the duplicitous is what Reuven said. You guys remember what Reuven said when Joseph was, they wanted to kill him? What did he say? What did Reuven say? He told his brothers,
He
no, let's
said
don't.
not,
Go ahead.
not to kill him, not to have their blood, his blood on their hands.
No, yes. So let's don't kill him. So let's just do what? What did he say? Throw him in a what?
Pit.
Let's throw him in a wilderness. Let's go take him to the wilderness. Let's throw him in a cistern. Let's throw him in a pit, in a well. Let's go throw him there, right? So we need to throw him in this well. And then it says Reuben did this because he said his intention was to do what?
Back and get him.
Wants to come back and save him and bring him back to Yaakov.
Right. So look at this. I want you to find the duplicity in what he said. Somebody tell me, well, how was that duplicitous?
He was being deceitful to his brothers by not sharing that was his intention.
Yes, because his father was right about him when he says you're weak as water. You're the strength of me as my firstborn, but you can't hold water. You're weak. Because he wasn't willing to be what he needed to be at that moment, the leader of the family. What he was willing to do was to tell them something to get them off of it. He wasn't his leader. You understand? So instead of him telling them the truth, so what did he do? He misled them by saying, let's just put him in the pit and he'll go back in later. So we found that even his behavior there didn't work out for him because he said something that his intention was, let's just go and do this. He had them believing something that wasn't true. See? So you can, even in your good intention, you can be duplicitous because you're making yourself, you're telling me something, but your whole intention is to do something else. Yehuda told Tamar that, yeah, I'm going to give you Selah, but the whole time he knew he wasn't. So he told her what she wanted to hear, but he had a whole nother intention. You understand? So duplicity and duplicitous attitudes is very deceitful. And it happens to do with this garment. Talking about that pit that Joseph was in, let's talk about that for a second. When Joseph was thrown into that pit, there was no water in it. Okay? None. So it was a picture of what? What do you think the pit represented? What did that well or that hole in the ground represent? They said it's a well, it's a pit, and maybe it was like a cistern. Okay.
Sheol.
Yes. It's a grave. Sheol.
So, yeah.
Okay. There was no water. Okay. In the Hebrew, the word well also means a spring, like a spring of water. Okay. And when you dig a well, you got to dig deep in order to find the water. Correct. So these wells, and as you know, in the Hebrew, it's always talking about different wells. Wells are used a lot. When Joseph was put into that well, it was a hole in the ground. Okay. So you got the ground, and then you got a hole, which I'm going to do here. This is a little elevation here. Okay. So this is the well. There generally are sometimes water in the well. Okay. But you got to dig deep, and these can go up to 30 to 40 feet down sometimes to go get that water, you know, or 20 feet or whatever, depending on where you got to tap in. Okay. Farmers, you know, Samiyah and Brother Stan Oxstan knows that, you know, for you to get water, sometimes you got to go real deep. Okay. You got to go deep in order to find this. Okay. So at this time, there was no water. There's no water in this well. So it's generally like a hole in the ground. Okay. And it's like a prison. Okay. When Joseph got, when the woman lied on him, they took him to a pit. So he's been thrown into a pit 2 times. Okay. Once by his brothers and second by this other guy. Okay. There's a whole bunch we can find, but I want to deal with this part, this deep, because we're about to go deep. Okay. And again, it's there's some distance down there. Okay. So they throw him in there. The name of a well or a spring in the Hebrew is called Ayin. And an ayin in the Hebrew represents the eye. Okay. All right. Everybody understand? A spring or a well is called an ayin. The reason why they call it, and it's the eye of the land. It's the eye of a land. Okay. So just like you and I are human beings, we walk around and there's eyes that we have. Okay. And when you have a land, there is what they call an eye. And that eye is the spring, because out of it comes water. So out of your eye, what comes out of your eye? What comes out of your eye?
Water.
Water. And your water is known as what?
Tears.
Tears. Okay. So when his brothers threw him into the pit, okay, he was crying. And he was bemoaning himself. He was crying. Okay. But they weren't directly around him. What they did is they took off his garment and they threw him into the pit. Okay. A deep pit. And they left him there, and they were going to leave him there to kill him too, by the way. They were just going to their first intention was, okay, here he come, let's kill him and throw him into the pit. That's what their first intention was. Let's kill him and then throw him into the pit. And Reuben said, no, let's don't kill him. Let's don't shed his blood. Let's don't do that. Oh, sorry about that. Let's just leave him there, and let's just leave him there. And he said, well, and we'll just leave, let's don't shed his blood. Let me put this back up here. So they throw him in. Okay. He falls inside the pit. He's crying. Okay. He's crying out for them. They can't stand to hear his cries. So what they do is they leave the pit and they go over somewhere else where they don't have to hear him anymore. Okay. They don't want to hear what he's saying. They don't want to hear him crying. So they leave off, and when they leave, they go out and they have a meal, and they eat food. They have lakim, they have a lunch. Okay. And as they're having this lunch, they're discussing what they're going to do with this guy, because the idea is if we could kill him, we can get rid of about his dreams. Okay. His dreams were condemning them. His dreams were saying that he was going to be their leader and their king. His dreams were saying that they were going to bow to him. His dreams were saying that he was going to be their leader. And what this was offensive to them, because they wanted Reuben to be their leader. That's who they wanted to be their leader. That's why they listened to him when he said, let's just throw him into the pit. So he was going along with it just because, even though he knew that he didn't want to kill him, he's like, no, let's just move on. So they moved on and they had lunch. And then the Medians, and then Yehuda says, well, instead of killing him, because they still wanted to kill him, Yehuda said, well, instead of killing him, let's just sell him. They never got a chance to sell him because some Medians, okay, some of Abraham's descendants came and they took him out of this pit, okay, and they sold him to the Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites sold him to Egypt. But the point of me talking about this and bringing a little bit more context is this: when he was in this well, this place, which I want to talk to you about, because Yah wants you and I to go a little bit deeper today. Okay. What Yah is telling us today is that I'm going to put you in a pit, because it's only in the pit that I'm going to hear you cry. Okay. When you're in this pit, I want you to know that the only one who can save you is the one who exists, the Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. As I told you, the words that are used more than any other word in terms of action, in terms of a verb, is this Yod-Heh, Yod-Heh, which means to exist. Okay. So everything that happens to Israel or to you is happening because Yah says it's going to exist in your life. I will allow you to go down into a pit. Okay. And when you get to your pit, to the lowest part of where you need to go, when you get there, you're going to start thinking, because that's what happens when you're in a pit. A pit is like a prison. Okay, you're in a prison. Okay, you're in a pit, and you're in a place of desolation. Okay, I put you in a place of desolation so I can find out whether or not you want to be brought out. And the only way you can be brought out is if I see you produce what they would call water. The only way you can do water for you, because you are a individual, is I got to ask for you if I start to see your tears. Yes, Pro 13, go ahead.
Man, excuse me for interrupting, but I just wanted to mention, like, I know I may speak for everybody that's on Zoom right now that, like, I enjoy this, just how what our ancestors went through, or certain individuals, what they went through. It shows what we're going through, their descendants going through what we're going through right now.
Yes.
How explain, how Yosef was in that pit, how we're in the pit right now, at the lowest point, to where, like, all right, we ain't got nowhere else to go. So, we're at the lowest point, the only way is up, and so we got to turn back towards the Most High, and get up out this pit,
Yes.
So, so these stories and situation and, this history about our ancestors ain't just for entertainment, nothing just to, oh, no, that's a nice story. It's something, something, it's an insight of what we're going through or what we're about to go through.
Praise the Holy One of Israel. Yes, thank you for that contribution. And you're absolutely correct. So in order to go into, or where we're at right now in this like prison inside, and this prison is not one of walls. Okay. The prison that I'm talking about is the prison that's within self. Okay. Last week, I asked the Holy One of Israel to reveal to me what it was about me, about myself, that I needed to change. And the only way that I can find that out is you and I have to go deep. And what we have to do is, and anytime you're going to dig a well, okay, or a cistern, you'll have a goal in mind. And the goal is to find water. That's the only reason why you dig a well. Okay. That's the only way you dig a well. And sister, I know I just flipped it because you're like, I thought you said I'm in there. Yes, but Yah's using the idea of letting you know where you are. Okay. When you're digging, because now I want to focus on digging, because if you're going to have a well, okay, because we're talking about wells. So not just are you in a well and you're in a pit, you're in a prison. Yes, you are. Okay. But also too, what Yah is saying is, now that you have in a well with no water, that serves as a grave. I think one of the occultes mentioned it calls Sheol, which is a place of destitution. There's darkness. There's nothing living. Okay, you can't survive. We need water to survive. Okay, and I'm talking agricultural terms that I'm gonna bring spiritual meaning to. Okay, not being Christian in any kind of way. I want you to understand that the only way that you and I are to have life is you need to find water. That's what you got to find it. And your water, okay, you got to find this. It's matzah. You got to find this water. Is you have to dig. In the culture of the Hebrew people, you didn't get water just by going to the store and turning on the faucet. You didn't get water by going to a market and doing that way. Water is fundamentally the life source for everything. You don't have any rain, okay, you don't have any water. You don't have any water, you don't have any life, because life is through water, okay, because it makes everything grow. So our goal is to find this water, as I told you, and you have to dig, and you have to dig deep, okay? And the well that you have to dig is the one that's within yourself. It's inside you. The deeper you go, the harder it's going to be, okay? It's not easy. What I'm asking you to do today is not easy. It takes hard work. It takes tenacity. It takes determination. It takes intention. It takes willpower. It takes strength. It takes a made up mind. Okay. So the Holy One of Israel is asking, okay, for us to dig deep, okay? Dig deep, deeper than what you've ever dug in your whole entire life, okay? And the only way you can do that is to find water. What am I asking? Why am I asking you to find water? Why am I saying that? What is your water that you're looking for? I want someone to answer that for me right quick. What water are you looking for? Anybody? What is y'all trying to get us to go to?
The water that sustains life, which is him.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, Jeannie said you need to dig 120 meters to find good water. 120 meters. So why is this important? It's because the water that sustains us is the Torah, but what Yah is asking for, and let me get out of here because something's going on with the screen. I don't know why this stuff is popping up on there like that. You shouldn't be doing that. All right, so what I'm saying to us today is that the goal is to dig deep so you can find the water that you need to find. So there's water that's coming up, or the water that comes down, okay? So there's water that comes down on us, which is the Torah, okay? The Torah has the same root for rain. I don't know if you know that. It's called YISRAEL, okay? And it means to shoot in a direction, and rain shoots down. I want you to follow me for these last 10 minutes. That's what the Torah does. It's like rain that hits the land, okay? If you and I are what we would call, you and I are a land within ourselves, because that's where we're made of. But in our land, we have an eye, which is called a spring, which is our eyes that we have, okay? Your eyes are your spring of water. So what the Holy One of Israel is asking for us to do, and I praise you, Yahweh, for showing me this right now. Hallelujah. Let me do it a little bit different here. All right. I'm not an artist, but I'll put it on here. There's a land. Within the land, you're going to dig a hole. Okay. And your purpose of digging the hole is to find water. Okay. There's clouds that are up in the sky. Okay. These clouds end up bringing water. The water that's coming down, as I told you, is the Torah. The Torah brings this water down. The water hits the ground and things begin to grow. Okay. The trees start to grow, the fruits, everything. Okay.
And weeds.
And the weeds. Praise the Holy One for you. You get a couple of weeds in there. Okay. So you got some, and so the weeds are indicative of what you would call trouble and somewhat of sorrow, because you have to get them out of there. Okay. The goal is that once this water hits, if you have what they would call and you tell me if I'm incorrect, if you have a cistern or a well that you dug, it will then come right here, and you would be able to capture the water that's coming down into this, okay, as a source of, of water. It's a source of water. Okay. If you don't build this cistern, because you just don't get to just dig and not, you have to build in it. Okay. And it takes time. So the Holy One of Israel is asking us to, in the land, of course, again, is what we would call our flesh and our bodies. Okay. Because that's what we're made out of. And the trees and stuff are the growth and development, and also to the grass of, your children and your family, the seeds. So you got to plant seeds for stuff to grow. So it's very agricultural, but the most important thing is receiving water from the heavens in order to capture the water. Okay. That's what these clouds are. And they bring the water down, and then the water hits it. And then the water also needs to be, it has overrun, but also too, you can build cisterns. And that's why our ancestors built cisterns and wells, because they needed sources of water to water their sheep and to go there to refresh themselves for cleansing purposes or whatever. Okay. If you build this well, or if you build this cistern, okay, it has a meaning too of, if you have water in your well, okay, you have life. If there's really nothing in you, you won't be able to respond to the Holy One of Israel. The Torah will provide you with what I'm about to tell you, and I'm sorry for going in circles. The Torah will provide you with what they will call, I'm sorry. Tears. If you don't have any tears and you're not crying, then your well is dry. That means you're empty. The only way that you could get water, okay, is you have to dig deep to get it from underneath, the deepest part, down below. Okay. And even in what Yah does is, okay, he brings water from the top. So you're getting it from the bottom and you're getting it from the top. You understand? So there's two ways to get it. Okay, you're going to get it through the Torah of Yah giving it to us, but also too, you have to have something within yourself. You have to dig deep down inside, because even when the water hits, it's absorbed into the ground. Okay, so there's a source of water that you got to tap into. So if you're a well or a pit without any water, then you're literally dead. That's what it is. Okay, and you're going to be stuck there. So what's the connection? The connection is that your eyes are called your springs, because they call it on the spring of the land, because it's called the eye of the land. A spring in the land is called the eye of that land. That's why there's a hole in the land, because it's the eye of the land. So when Yah made your body, he gave you a land and he put holes in your land. And those are called your eye sockets. Okay. So it's just not only you seeing, but it's also Yah's letting you know, when you have these holes, which are your eye sockets, that's where your water is going to come out of. Your water is coming out of your eyes. And generally what things comes out of your eyes is when you're either, for several reasons, you're crying. And you cry for what kind of reasons? You cry because you're sad. You cry because you're unhappy. Okay. You cry because you're grieving. You know, there's multiple reasons why you should cry. But you also have tears of what? You got tears of joy and happiness. It could be either a positive thing or it could be a negative thing. But even in the so-called negative thing, like we saw with Joseph, we see that in his crying, Yah took him out of that pit. And he brought him to a house, and he got in trouble again because of the deception of someone's actions, the duplicitous actions. And then he went back into the pit again. After he went back into that pit again, Yah delivered him from that pit again. But prior to that, there was something that he said that kept him in that pit. Okay. When Joseph was coming out of that, when he had, sorry for jumping around, when Joseph interpreted the dreams of the butler and the cupbearer, the cupbearer and the baker, he asked the cupbearer to make sure that he remembered him when he left and he got out. And he says, when you get out there, and you're doing good, make sure that you tell Pharaoh about me, so I can get out of this place, so I can get out of my prison. Take me from this place. And I don't want to misquote what he said, so let's just read it. I think that's in fairness to you. I don't want to say it. I want to give you what he said. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Right here. He said, and this is in conclusion, he said this: at 40. All right, so he gives an interpretation. This is what he said. Oh, this is what he said. All right. He said 14, but remember, as he's talking to the cupbearer, when it goes well with you, when things become tov with you, show me some kindness, please. And Zakar, me, tell Pharaoh about me so that he will release me from this prison. For the truth is that I was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews. And here too, I have done nothing wrong that would justify putting me in this dungeon, meaning this pit, because that's where he was. So he wanted out of the pit. And what he asked was, he asked that this man would mention him to Pharaoh. And he wanted Pharaoh to deliver him. And that wasn't what Yah's intentions were. Yah's intentions of bringing Joseph, okay, into the land of Mizraim is for the purpose of delivering the whole entire nation and the whole entire family of Yaakov. His whole intention of having that robe made for him or that garment made for him was so that his brothers would, he knew that they would hate him. His intention of setting, because everything says Yiyeh, 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 meaning that he exists, everything came to pass, and it 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 came to pass that this is, and then it came to pass, and it came to pass, and it came to pass. Nothing can come to pass without Yahweh. So even the word Yiyeh has its root in Yahweh's name. So everything that we've read this week is letting us know that everything that happens come to pass because of Yah orchestrating it. Yah says, I orchestrate good and evil. I created both of them. I bring trouble whenever I need to. I'll save a family and I'll punish you for your crimes. I'll do everything I'll do in order to bring about what I need to bring about. So I put Joseph in that situation because I have a plan for the family. I not only have a plan for the family, but I have a plan for Yaakov. I have a plan for Reuven. I got a plan for Shimon and Levi and Yehuda and Zevulun and Issachar and Gad and Dan and Asher and Naphtali and Benjamin and Yosef. I have a plan for them. And you may not understand my plan that I have in your life, but I put you where I put you for the purpose of myself. I put you there so I can be glorified. You know, one of the things I confess to all of you today is that in my life, I've always wanted to be super successful. And everything I've done in my life has been for the sheer fact of me coming from a broken home and never having anything. I've always wanted to be wealthy. I've always wanted to be a millionaire. I've always wanted to prove to the world that I was worthy of respect and honor, and I wasn't a loser like the loser that I had as a father. So I was like, and I didn't want to be a loser. I didn't want to be a gangster. I didn't want to be any of those things. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be honored in sight of all people, because I believed inside of myself that I deserved that. I deserved, instead of being the kid without a dad, and everyone looked upon, I deserved better than that. So I worked hard. I did what I had to do. I earned money. I worked jobs when I was a kid. Ever since I was like 6 or 7 years old, I've been working, selling things. I did everything. That's why I know so much about so many different things. And I did these things because I wanted to prove to the world and to myself that I am somebody and that I'm worthy of everything that I get. I wanted to be, accepted. And I wanted to shine. But I found out just recently, that I'm not here to shine. I'm not. I wasn't born to shine. I'm not for myself, at least. I was created, and I'll speak for myself. And I want you to associate, if you can, what I'm saying to you that could be applicable to your life. I wanted to shine because I only know I have so much time to shine. And I wanted people to look at me and say, wow, look at that guy. And there was nothing wrong with that. Having a job. Oh, look, he works so hard. Okay. Oh, look at this. He's a top 10 student in the Bay Area. Oh, look, he has businesses. Oh, look, he owns franchises. Oh, look. And I would always tell people, look what I built. Look what I do. Look who I am. The Creator has shown me that I want to shine, but I'm not here trying to make him shine. I'm only created only for one purpose, and that is to bring glory to Yahweh, the King of the universe. I'm only here to be used by him in every gift that I have, and every gift that you have, and every talent that we have is only to bring glory to the Holy One of Israel. Every good thing that you and I have ever done, the only reason why it was done because Yah has allowed us to exist. Every good thing that you will become is for you to bring glory to the name of Yahweh, the creator of the heavens and the earth. You only have a certain amount of time, you and I. And our job is to bring glory to him and to bring glory and esteem to his name and to make his name shine. The only way that this is going to happen is if we relinquish our rights of saying that I want to shine without you. I want to shine by myself and I want to shine alone. And anybody else that sees this shine, they can focus their attention on me. There's a lot of people that are shining right now, but they're bringing and drawing attention to themselves. Things that shine are brilliance and bring lights to you, or that which grabs your attention and it takes you away from what it is our purpose is. So they're distractions. If you're giving your attention more to these celebrities or to these people, these sports figures, or you're trying to, find a way in your life so you can shine like them, bling, you want to bling like them, or you want to draw attention to yourself to show the world that you made it, then you're being deceived. You haven't dug deep enough into your well. You haven't dug deep enough to find out what's really wrong with you. I didn't want to know what the problem is with me until recently. I want to do a surface clean out. I'm good. I teach the Torah. I know the language. I'm good. Yah says, no, we got to go deeper. Now we're going to go into the deepest part. And I asked him, well, why is it that I wanted to be like this? Why am I always trying to prove myself? He says, because you don't understand why you were created. You were created for me. Every talent and ability that you have, I gave it to you for me. Your characteristics, the way you speak is for me. I made you that way. I made you, excitable. I put you with your mother, and your mother made you, your experience with her has formed and shaped your character. Just like I shaped Joseph's character by what I put him through. Just like I shaped Yehuda's character by what I put him through. Just like I shaped the family of Israel's character. I shaped your character by what the positions I put you in. I don't bring you here for you to do what you want to do. I brought you here to serve me. That's why I call you my servant. I revealed myself to you so you would be able to bring honor and glory to me throughout the nations. That's why I told you I would make you a light to the nations. Because after you decide that you want to bring and elevate me, because that's the reason why everything exists, is to glorify me. When you look at the clouds and you look at the rain and you look at the waters and you look at and this is why Yahweh mentions all these great things that he's done. And he always talks about his deeds. And he's always talking about how powerful he is. And he says, I did it alone. It's because who he is demands respect and honor and dignity. It also demands a certain type of character. If we're going to be his people, if we're going to be associated with him, we can't be like the wife that sits around and sets her eyes upon that which she believes to be beautiful. One of the things that Yosef had told her was this. He says, my master has given me everything in the house that belongs to him, and he has not given me anything that I don't have any control over. What is this that you're asking of me? How could I do this evil, this great, he called it a Gadol Hara, which is a great evil. Why would you do this? And listen, and to sin against Elohim, against Elohim. He understood it. He didn't have the Torah written out for him to know that to sleep with another man's wife and show any type of unfaithfulness to your master. It wasn't just a sexual aspect. It was about his character. Yah was developing his character. And if you notice, when we get in our Torah portion next week, we'll find that when he eventually gets involved with his brothers, he was trying to find out whether or not their character had changed. You understand? So this is what Yah is using right now, this moment in time, where you and I are part of it together. We're here together to discover what we need to do. I'm here to challenge each and every last one of us to dig. Don't be satisfied with the wells or the water that have been given to you by men. Dig deep in your own lives and search for the things. One of the things that was said in the Torah portion this week, that the man that met Joseph on his way to look for his brothers asked him, what are you seeking? What are you seeking? Ma Dorash, what are you seeking? That is a code message from the Holy One of Israel. What are you seeking? What are you seeking? Are we seeking life? Are we seeking temporal pleasures for the moment, like that woman, or like Yehuda? Or were we going to be the people that are, when we say something, we really mean it? Our ancestors told the Holy One of Israel, whatever you said, we will do. They were duplicitous. Psalm 78 said that they lied directly to him. They lied knowing that they wouldn't do what he said. They lied straight to his face. The type of people that are like a whore, that after she's finished doing her deal, she acts like she hasn't done anything wrong. If we haven't cried and we haven't found that water that's deep down inside of us, your tears would tell you, and it's evidence that you've reached the bottom of yourself. When you come to that end, and you come to that place of darkness with no water, you have to look for Yah. You have to be content with what he gives us. This is a job. This is what Yah is showing us through this narration, through this story of this family, all the problems this family has had. Yah has designed a Torah. Yehuda said, you should marry your brother's wife. Well, Deuteronomy 25 says the same thing. So who said it first? He understood it. Yah designed a Torah around that because he knows in order to keep the seed going, this is what it has to happen. And if a man doesn't do this, he doesn't want to build up the family. Yah talks about a man sleeping with his wife. Reuven did that before the Torah was even written to Israel, because Yah used Reuven's experience to show Israel what would happen if you do such a thing. Yah talks about what happens to someone gets raped. They went in there and killed a whole city. The Torah says if a woman wasn't able to cry out and someone took her virginity, they'd have to pay. You don't go and kill everybody. So Yah's designed this instruction, this body of instructions for us to say, listen, you guys have lived this way before, but now I know this is in your DNA. This is the type of people you are. And then you guys are easily influenced by others. So all I want to do is design a way of life, an instruction manual for you to know how to deal with me. You guys have been exposed to other gods that allow you to sleep with your mother and your brothers and your sisters and all these types of things, because those are gods that you served who allowed you to do such a thing. You guys are accustomed to temple prostitution. So you're going to bring those same behaviors and misconduct. That's why I designed a Torah, to show you how not to do those things. I'm only going to use that which you have been exposed to show you how the contrast and what I'm trying to bring out of you. I'm using the Torah to shape your life. I'm using it. I'm taking you through the family genealogies, and I'm taking you through the course of their lives to tell you that I don't want you as my people to be duplicitous. It was the duplicity of your father, Yehuda, that turned around and said something that he didn't mean. It was the duplicitous behavior of your father, Yaakov, that caused him to be deceived himself. You guys are having actions. You say the right things that you say. You think what you're saying is right, but you have a whole nother intention. You dress yourselves up in clothes and you make other people believe that you're this person. You go on Facebook and you make people believe that you have this wonderful life. But I know who you are, and I see you, and I hear you. And I'm going to judge your actions according to the manner of life and conduct that you have. But my idea is not to let you be out there with the manner of life and conduct that would bring death to you. Let me come in and show you and rain down in your cisterns. Dig deeper so you'll have a capacity for me. The deeper your well goes, the more water you can obtain. Yes, it's going to take a lot of work. Yes, it's going to be painful. Yes, but that's part of life. Anything worth having and establishing is worth working for and building. That's what this is about. In order for you and I to dwell while you shave among one another, we have to get rid of this duplicitous attitude. I don't care what you wear. I don't care what you're telling people. If you say something to one person, you have to act the same way with the next person. You can't look your wife in the eye and tell her that you love her and you got your eye on another woman. You can't do that. And what I'm talking about, you want to cheat? No, I'm even talking about looking at a woman and saying, oh, wow, she's beautiful. That's not faithful. That's not faithful. I don't care. Well, it's human. You're just a man like everyone. No, you're not. Listen, Yahweh's people. And the reason why you can't do that, because Yah says you got to turn your eyes away from that glitters, and that what makes you draw yourself away. Eventually, you don't know how powerful your eyes are. You can't be with Yahweh on Shabbat and then later on next week you're with your family on Christmas. You can't. You can't say it's okay. I'm not doing anything. I'm just there. I don't believe in this. Being with Yahweh is not about belief. Being with Yahweh is about doing. So this is what Yah is talking about. So that's what he wanted to show us in this Torah portion this week. Is that everything that happens is because Yahweh allows it. And even though it's happening, Yah says, I want you to understand, do not be a person who is duplicitous. Don't be a deceiver. Don't put on a garment like you really are about something and you're not. Don't be one way with me, and then when you're with someone else, you never mention it. Don't be hating the homosexual and until you get around your family and you got the gays there. And what I mean by hatred is saying, look, I need to put distance between us. I can't be around. I don't condone this type of behavior. And I'm not just talking about the homosexual. I'm talking about the people that you would say, well, I don't eat pork, but you turned around and somebody that came to your house took the same pork that you don't eat and put it in the skillet that you cook with. Yah says you ain't even supposed to have it. You can't even touch it. Well, that's religious. No, it's not. It's what the creator of the heavens and the earth said. He said, don't even touch it. You understand? So let's be about it if we're going to be about it. Get your shovels out, start digging, dig deep, and find out what's really up. And then when you discover these things, you're going to find that water and you're going to begin to cry when you find out what's going on. And Yah says, great, you found water, you tapped in. Now I know. Now I'm going to rain down on you and I'm going to put more of that Torah in there. So I'm going to reserve those tears for you. Because when you get back to him and in the land, he says, they're coming crying. They're not coming dancing. No one's coming back dancing. He said, you're going to loathe yourselves for all your disgusting practices and what you've done, you and your ancestors. So, the whole let's celebrate. No, this ain't a time for celebration. There's moedims for that time. Right now, it's not a time for celebration. Right now is a time for digging. Okay, so start digging, get into your Torah portion, and stop making excuses. It's not hard. If you don't know what the Torah portion is, you need to text me. And you need to ask me. And you need to ask anybody else. That's why I'm here. Because Yahweh wants you to dig. And so you can find these things out. He doesn't want me just to teach it to you. He wants you to know it for yourself. I have to strengthen you along this walk. So we can all walk together and continue together. It ain't gonna be, he blessed me, but he ain't blessed you. And it said that Yahweh Elohim was with Yosef. That's what it said. And he blessed everything that he did when he was in that situation. He blessed him in order to bring about, and Potiphar knew this. He said, oh, he knows that Yahweh was with him. He knows that Yahweh was with him. Yahweh prospered him. So people say, well, oh, he's with him. He blessed him. And everyone saw it. Well, the bottom line was everything that Joseph touched, everything was blessed. Everything was gaining for his master. Okay. And the master appreciated it. Okay. And therefore he put him in charge of everything. So the question for us today, again, to go back to my initial point is if Yahweh's blessing with us and Yahweh's with us, then why is not the world recognizing it? Why haven't they accepted it? You understand? Because Yahweh's not with us because we're in a land of the people who understand that they're going to follow the God of the New Testament. No one here is doing what Yahweh says. So every land has their own God. Okay. Every land has their own God. Egypt has their own God. The Babylonians have their own God. You understand? Every country has their own God. Every land has their own God. You understand? So right now, you and I are in the presence of the Holy One of Israel, but he's not with us. There is no tabernacle. I don't care if they build one and name it that. There is no tabernacle. He's not there. And that hurts feelings, but it's the truth. He's not there. You understand? He's holy. He's set apart. He's the king of the universe. David's not sitting on the throne. If David, one of his descendants is sitting on the throne, that's where Yahweh is. Yahweh's not over in Israel over there today because they have homosexuality. They have all kind of stuff. I don't care what anybody's talking about. When Yahweh shows up, there will be a temple and there won't be any uncircumcised person in the land of Israel. There won't be any evil. There won't be any debauchery, no homosexuality, none of those things. It won't be no war. All that will be done away with. And we have to trust and believe what he says. Let's don't listen to the critics and the politicians and the people around and the religious leaders of the world, because they're going to direct you to what they want because they're wearing a garment to deceive, to make you think that they're with him and he's with us. No. Everyone, especially for us, needs to understand today, Yah is saying, I don't want you guys to be duplicitous. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you told me that you would keep the covenant, keep it. Don't make any excuses and dig deep. And that's the lesson for today. That's this Shabbat lesson today. I hope you were able to capture something from this. I hope you were able to gather and capture what I'm saying. He's marvelous and he's amazing. And we just got to keep searching and we have to keep digging. Okay. Anyone like to add any comments, contributions, additions, subtractions?
I would, David, about 3 points. The first one is to thank you for your personal, intimate words about yourself.
Yes.
Number two, your words are inspirational to me and motivational. Motivational in the sense that even though I have started to read the Torah daily, I don't ever seem to get as much out of it as you do, but I'm continuing and I will dig deeper. And lastly, when you were talking about duplicity, I could not help but think about it in terms of a genetic trait being passed down, because there was so much duplicity within this family line that it almost seems as though the descendants would have a bent toward duplicitousness.
Yes.
And that's the way I thought of it. And thank you for this lesson. I really appreciate it.
Praise be to the Holy One of YISRAEL. Thank you for that. And it's true. The character of the family is being passed on to the descendants. So you can't forget that the DNA is locked in to a group of people, and this is what they do. This is not nothing new. So this is the reason why Yah's given the Torah, is because the Torah is the ingredient that's necessary in order to bring about the change that the family of Yaakov is. They're full of liars. They're full of people that say we're going to do something and they never had an intention to do. They're full of hatred. They all hated their brothers. They're full of let's kill them. He's just giving us a forecast of what is to be expected of these people. Okay. And they're doing all kinds, they're influenced by others. They say one thing and do something totally different. They join up with people in their festivals, you know, Baal Paror. They're just a group of people, but they're not so much different than anyone else. And that's the problem, is that you can't really say like, oh, they're different. Yah says, I'm looking for people who have been set apart, just like a prostitute. You know, this is a prostitute because the way she dresses, the way she looks, and what she does. Yah says on the, that's what they call the negative, but on the positive side, Israel needs to be like that. Meaning when you see Israel, you be like, that's Israel. Just like when you see a whore, oh, that's a whore. He said, but with you, I can't tell. Because you're so duplicitous. You're acting one way with me, but you're someone else behind closed doors. You talk about me in this manner and you celebrate me in whatever way you want to, but then behind closed doors, if you look in the book of Ezekiel, he says, son of man, come, let me show you what these people are doing. It's being secretive. In my family, there's so many secrets in terms of people. I don't know if it's isolated people in Texas, but my family, there's family secrets that nobody wants to talk about. There's so many secrets. It's crazy. So Israel is the kind of people that hold secrets, and they're deceivers, and they need to and they have to be different, and they don't want to be different. They just don't. But it's the Torah that causes people to say, oh man, I got to make some changes. I found something here. What'd you find? I don't want to share it. I dug and found out, oh, you want to bring glory to yourself. Oh, okay. So you're not here to bring glory to me. When Yah showed me that about myself, I cried. I said, all this work that I've done all this time was for me. He said, yeah, it wasn't for me. It was for you. You wanted everybody to recognize you. And that's the problem. I can use your gifts and your talents, but they have to be about me, because that's why I designed you. You know, as a creator, when you create something, you create it so people can look at it, so they can bring attention back to you. When you talk about Facebook and you talk about who created it, you know who created. I say Apple. Everybody know who created Apple, don't they? It's the genius behind the creation. It's not the creation. It's the genius behind it. You understand? So when all the attention is brought to the person, to the object, instead of the creator, that's the problem. If you're anything, if you're any good in anything you do, you say, well, I give glory to Yah. No, that's not enough. Yah says, I'm not going to share my glory with anybody. Don't you get it? Not even Israel. I'm not sharing it with you. Your job is to glorify me. My job is not to glorify you. Your job, I created you for me. Now, if you want that, if you want to do your job, then do your job. You're here to be a servant to me. I'm not here to serve you. I'm the husband. You're the wife. I'm not here to serve you. I'm here to impregnate you. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to provide for you. And you have a responsibility to me. Get in your role and find your place. That's what Yah is telling Israel. It's that simple, folks. You understand? When you look at and Stan can testify this, he has land, he has farming, and so does some of y'all. They farm and they do these things. When they bless me and give me their apples or their fruits or whatever they give me, when I'm eating that, you know who I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about them. If I make an apple pie, ooh, this apple pie tastes so good. But guess who put the apples there? The one who created, the one who nurtured it, the one who raised them. You see? It's not the kids. My kids tell me that my daughter just got accepted in nursing school. She's so excited. And I'm so happy for her. And she said, well, this would be impossible without you guys. And I said, yeah, aren't you glad that you have parents who would direct you? I can't take credit for you doing your grades. I can't take credit for that. But what I can take credit for is I helped to bring you to this point. I try to direct you. So No one can boast about anything. He says, if a man wants to boast on anything, let him boast in this, that he knows me. If you know Yahweh, you can boast. But don't you boast about how smart you are like I did, or how much money you got and what you do. We better boast about the one who exists and who has allowed us to exist. And for the short period of time that we have, you and I have to make a contribution to him with our lives. And that's something he's asking. If you want to make a contribution, then contribute something to me. What is it that I created you for? To bring glory to me. So once you find a way to shine for me, glorify me in your work. You have a business, turn it around and use it, whatever you get, to glorify me in any possible way you can. Use it to glorify me, to bring light to me. And then as a result of that, you'll keep shining. Because the only reason why you're shining is so you can bring light to me. When Moshe came down and his face was shining, it wasn't his glory. It was for them to recognize, oh, he's been with Yah. You understand? If there's any fruits and vegetables, it's only given so you can take it and bring a basket of it to the one who gave it. Okay, it's called reciprocating. You understand? Yah is saying this. The only reason why he's given the land is because he made a promise, and he's going to fulfill that promise. So what? So we could glorify him for who he is. That's why I don't want you to take advantage of the widow and the stranger and the fatherless. It's because that doesn't bring glory to me. I don't want you to sleep with you and your son going to the same woman because you profane my name. I don't want you to you need to stop breaking your word. You said you're going to do something, do it. Do it. Why would I choose a people who are being duplicitous, who's acting one way in public and then in private, they're somewhere else? You got a secret life. You understand? You got a secret chamber that you go to, your own special, just you and yourself and everything else that you have been hiding. Yah says, I see you. Even though you could take and cover and put blood on something and present it in the garment to someone else and deceive them, you can't deceive me. Even in your deception, the light still gonna come out. I'm still gonna make it happen. You could throw someone down in the pit and they could be sold off to a whole nother land, and I'm still going to be glorified. Yahweh has done everything he's done to bring glory to his name. That's all I got to tell you. Anyone else?
ACHI'KA.
Yes, my sister, Koti.
When you were speaking, I was thinking about how when the Most High finally helped me understand that I was his creation.
Yes.
And that everything about me, he's given to me for his glory. Yes. And that nothing that I have or nothing that I do is because of me.
Yes.
It's because of who he created me to be. And he also let that overflow into my spirit about my children. And when you were talking about the kids and they're being destroyed and stuff and what people are doing to them, we don't realize that they're his for him to do what he wills with just as well as us.
Yeah.
So we can't stand up and say, look at me because I'm so wonderful, because I didn't create me. And he helped me understand that a long time ago. And he was like, and also it doesn't give me the right to criticize how he created me.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it made me more accepting of myself and being okay with others being who they are as well, because I didn't create me, nor did they create themselves. So it's like, wow, what am I to do with what you've given me? And so that was the question, why did you give me the mind you gave me, the heart you gave me, the spirit you gave me? What is it that you want me to do with the gifts that you have given? And I kind of hear that's what you're saying.
Yes, it is.
Finally realizing that whoever you are, and even your circumstances that cause you to be who you are, had nothing to do with you.
Yes.
And it's all him. So I just wanted to reverberate that and say that I truly understand what you're saying, because it's so powerful when you realize that you truly were created to give honor and glory and blessing to the Most High. And it kind of takes you and puts you in a different position as to how you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, all of these things that men have placed into our spirit to us to say this is how you esteem yourself in the earth no longer become valid. I'm not saying you shouldn't do them, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't see it, you see it differently.
It's not your focus no more. It's not your
exactly.
It's not your priority. Is and that's really well said, is that Yah becomes a priority. And he also not only becomes a priority, but he also becomes the purpose. So now you found purpose. So whatever it is you do, whether, like I said, in business, or you're a teacher, or you're a student, or whatever it is, I don't care what you're doing. If that's what Yah created you to be and to do at that time, Yah can still find glory in that, and bringing that out by you being who you are. And changing our lives is glorifying to Yah. It's something very special about that. And so I'm honored now to be going through the process. I'm honored to be this vessel that he decided, okay, I'm going to take away your ability to do what you want to do in terms of physically. I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to increase you in these other areas. Now we're going to go deep now, because now we can. So I can't be mad at Joseph's brothers for what they did to him. And he told them not to be, because it was necessary. You understand? So whatever we're going through, it is necessary for the process to continue. So my process is different than your process, but they're very similar, because the process is, it may be in different places, different locations, different times, different manners. But what we do know is that the process is still the same, which is to bring out the end result, which is to glorify Yah with the lives that we have. So as we see, all of these brothers were all different in their character, but yet they all had hatred in them, and just in spite of Reuben saying that he wanted to spare his brother, we see that hatred was there for him, because he put distance, because he allowed there to be put space between him and Joseph. So did he love his brother? No, he didn't. He hated his brother. Did he protect his brother? He thought that he was protecting his brother, but he was being duplicitous. He was saying something and intentionally try to deceive them, instead of just being straight out like, no, we're not going to do this. And if you're going to kill him, you're going to kill me too. So he wasn't a brother to him. I don't know, is that because they had different mothers or whatever it is, but there's been problems in this family. And Yah's telling us that you're the only family that I know. You're the only family that I know. You're the only one that I have intimately known. And you guys need to understand that you guys are the only people that I know. Out of all the people on the face of this earth, you guys are the only family that I have ever known intimately. I've done things with other families, but I've never come to know them like I know you. Never. So this is what he says. Of all the families on the earth, verse 2, only you have I intimately known. That's right. Out of the whole family. Listen to the word of Yahweh, who has spoken against you, you people of what? Of YISRAEL, you sons of Israel, you daughters of Israel, against the whole entire family. I brought you up from the land of Misraim. Of all the families on the earth, because there's a whole bunch of families, but only you have I intimately known. This is why I'm going to punish you for all your crimes. So we know him. I told you, Yada means to know. He got intimate with us. Do you understand that? I'm intimate with you. Me and you know each other like a husband and a wife. I know your inner being, and you know me because I introduced myself to you. I spoke to you, and I ain't spoke to nobody else. And because I spoke to you and I ain't never spoke to anybody else, you owe me something, because we went into a contract, and you got to keep your word. If you break your word with me, I'm going to destroy you, because I don't go in contracts to have anybody break my word. You look outside, you see the rainbow, I made a promise not to wipe everybody else out. Creation, destroy the earth and anything with what I made a contract. You want me to honor that contract, right? So once you honor the contract that I made with you, you want people to honor your business contracts and your marital contracts and your, you know what I'm saying? You got to deal with the Lakers. You want them to honor their contract, but I asked you to honor my contract. You don't want to honor my contract. There's contracts in law. There's contracts all over the place. There's employment contracts. There's business contracts, marriage, real estate. Every part of our life, there's a contract called an agreement. What Yah says was even deeper than anything being written is what I said. The contract, the one we're in contract was the one who spoke everything to existence. So do you really believe that he's going to speak and all of a sudden now there's no more contract? You think he speaks in vain for fun? I did this for fun just to see what happens. No, there was a purpose behind speaking to Israel. There was a purpose for him calling us. We got a job to do. But I want to know if you're willing. I don't want you to be with me no more if you don't want to be with me. Because I got to stop this nonsense of you going around laying up with everybody. You ain't running in and out of my house. That's why I burned it down. The temple, I burned down my house because of your whoredom. So I got to put you out. And I did. And I'm mad. And I decided to kill all the descendants and all this kind of stuff. But I left a few. Now that I'm done, I'm not going to be angry forever. I told you I'm not. I'm going to bring you back. But before I bring you back, and before I reestablish this family together, I want to make sure that the people who are coming back want to be there. And they want to keep the terms of the conditions of the contract. Can you blame them? No, can't. Anyone else?
Yes, Debbie.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you, TORAH Rabbah, for your teaching, your wisdom weekly.
TORAH.
And you're so humble. I've known you, I think, since 2017 or 18.
Yes.
18. And you have not changed. And you actually shows me through your action, with even you always talk about family and you praise Yah every single day, weekly. And you show that with your family too, and your wife is lovely. So I appreciate that. And the second thing, earlier you spoke about homosexuality, same-sex marriages, that they're disobeying Yah for not having children, but they are having children because it's in their DNA. So they're artificially trying to have children. So they're, disobeying Creator. Of course, they're actually mocking him. Mm-hmm. So if they're trying not to have children, why are they artificially trying to have children? Because because it's in their DNA to have multiply? It's in our DNA.
Well, yeah, it's in our DNA, and what it is they understand. All of us understand this. If you don't continue the seed, then your name is gone. And one of the things that humanity wants to do is build a name for themselves. So they don't want to get rid of that. They just want to exclude the one who said, I want you to build a name for me. See, because remember in the book of Genesis, which we read, and I believe it's in chapter number 9, if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to build a tower. And what they wanted to do is say, come, let us build a name for ourselves. And they wanted to get rid of Yahweh. That's the whole intention. The intention is to get rid of his name. See, with his name, you can't be a transgender. With his name, you can't eat what you want to eat. With his name, you got to have the family the way that he designed it. Everything that's included in his name, because it brings glory to him. So the family by itself is established so it can bring glory to the Holy One. I'm going to ask you a question in just a second, Rivka. I see you. So what he's saying is, my way of doing things, it brings glory to me by you executing what I said. Just like he said with the people that were profaning his name by, doing things that were against the Torah, which is, he said that these two men, a father and a son, were sexually active with the same woman. And he said, when you did this, when you were sexually active with the woman, you and your son together, you guys were going into the same woman. When you do this, you're bringing bad stuff upon my name. Okay. So like here he says this, verse number 8, 7, grinding the heads of the poor in the dust and pushing the lowly out of the way, father and son sleep with the same girl. profaning my holy name. That's so the opposite of profaning his name is bringing glory to his name. So if they were not to sleep with the same girl, then yeah, I would say you'll be glorifying me. If you go against what he said, you're profaning his name. So the homosexual, the lesbian, the transgender, they are profaning his name, but instinctively they want to do what humans do, which is reproduce. And they want to be able to pass on their heritage, their wealth, and everything to someone. So it's not like they don't want to have kids. You're right, they are. They're still trying to do that, but they're doing it in the way that they want to do it, which is totally opposite of what Yah has done, and therefore thereby going against the way that he said, because it's a process. It's a way that it has supposed to happen, that is supposed to happen between a man and a woman. And of course, there's women who can't have children, right? Or men who are, infertile. So what they do is they go in and they, intravenously try to impregnate people. So they got a whole bunch of science around it or whatnot. Whole nother topic, but you're right. They're going about it the way that they want to. And I thank you for your kind words and your contribution.
But isn't Yah said he opens and closes the womb?
Yes, it is. Yahweh is the one who opens and closes the womb. You are 100% unequivocally correct. So again, but you remember, Yah gives man an opportunity to do what he wants to do. Because either you're going to bow down willingly and do it from yourself, or you're going to be destroyed. That's what this is about. Either Yah says, I'm going to be your king, or you're going to be destroyed. But I don't want it to be forced. It has to be, where we agree. Like you say, I want to be with you, because it's about a contract. So Yah saying, if you want to be with me, then let's be together. If you don't want to be with me and I'm forcing you, then the relationship ain't real. So there's no reason for us to even do anything together, because you don't want to. So that's why he's saying to people that he's going to bring out of these lands of their enemies, he's going to take them to the wilderness and he's going to judge them and plead with them. And he says, those who are rebels against me will not enter the land, because there's a group of people who he gives them the right to make the decision. Ezekiel 18 says, you don't have to be like your father or your mother. You don't have to be like your parents. You could do something completely different. It's up to you. You think about it. He says, do I have any pleasure in the death of the wicked? No, absolutely not. So he's leaving it up to the human being and to the individual to make that decision for themselves. And that's beautiful, because it shows you that he's being just and he's being right and he's being fair. So when anybody gets destroyed, it's not because he wanted to destroy them. He said, Israel says that you blame me. I'm the one. I'm the reason why people are dying. He said, you say that my ways are not fair. No, Israel, it's your ways that are not fair. So everyone's been giving Yah a bad rap, especially the Christians and all these other religions, and saying, oh, he just wants to kill everybody. No, he doesn't. No, he's not. But all because he doesn't want to do that doesn't mean that he's not going to. He is going to destroy the wicked just on default because of who he is. And he's telling the wicked, and he talks more to the wicked than he does to the righteous. I don't know if you know that. He talks more to the wicked than he does to anyone else. When he talks to wicked people, he's talking to his people. He's not talking to any other nation. He doesn't. I'm giving instructions to Israel. Israel is wicked. Israel has unrighteousness and people in it. Israel's the one sleeping with, he just said it, a father and son sleeping with the same girl. Israel's the ones burning their kids up. Israel's the one who's breaking covenants. Israel. So for them, I think Sister Valinda said it, we and I can't point the finger and say, I'm clean, and these other people are filthy. No. Israel, the whole nation is messed up. There's not one person in this nation that has never transgressed the Holy One of Israel. If anybody says that they have not transgressed him, even Shalomo said that person is lying, because there is transgression on Israel's part. So we have to make up our minds, and we got to stop playing games, because we are a species of a kind of human that he made. And he said, this is what I made you guys for. And your job is to do this so you could teach other people how to do it so they can live too. So ultimately, everybody that's dying is your fault, because you guys didn't want to do what I said. You go blame anybody for what the world's going through right now. Blame you. You're responsible. Or you want to act like play dumb, like we don't have nothing to do with this. Yes, you do. You sure do. So what do? You find out, I got to make some adjustments. I got to make some changes. I want to be a servant. I want to serve Yah now. Maybe in my former life, when I was in the wilderness or wherever I was with him at a different time, maybe I didn't want to do it. I'm here now. It's obvious that I'm here because my ancestors. So I've come from them. So I'm making up my mind. I'm tired. Rivka, you had a question. Go ahead, Rivka. I'm sorry. You asked me a question. Are you still there, Rivka?
Yeah, I was just want to make a comment, but first I wanted to say thank you to Jeannie and your kind words. But I was just going to say that, and we kind of left there, but I was just saying that I just want to make a comment that's why they want to annihilate Israel from the face of the earth, because we're a constant reminder of what Yah is saying. So it was a while back, but
that's a good contribution, because you're absolutely correct. And that's the deal. If you, again, what Rivka is saying is that if you can get rid of Israel, right, and you can get rid of the possibility of things changing. See, they don't want the world to change. They want everything to keep going. They want the mandates. They want you stuck on your house. They want to tell you what to do. They want to make sure that you'll never get wealthy, never have any lands, never none of that. They want to lock you down. So you can never call upon the name of Yahweh. So what they do is they destroy the family, because that's the number one target. If you destroy the family, and then you can wipe Israel out, you can completely wipe them out, because there won't be anybody to call on his name. Remember, the job is their gods against our Elohim. And that's what the battle is. And that's been the fight the whole time. And that's why he's been struggling with Israel, because Israel is saying that there's someone else. And y'all saying, what are you talking about? I told you I'm the only one alone who took you out. You're my witnesses. Are you not? So Israel is saying that there's someone else. They're saying it's Yeshua. They're saying it's JC. They're saying it's Muhammad. They're saying a whole bunch of other people. They're saying it's Buddha. That's what they're saying. And y'all saying, I told you, I'm the one who came and revealed myself. You're the only people on the earth that knows me. You're my witnesses. I'm he, and there's no one else. And Israel's saying, no, there's the other gods, like the other people said, there's other gods. He said, no, there's not. He said, fine, forget it. I'm going to scatter you and you stay where you are. And when I get there, then I'm going to show you. So just like he sent Joseph into slavery to bring about the salvation of Israel, Yah has sent us into exile so he can show the world who he is. Don't you see his hand? He sent us here so he can show the world. He was scattered to the four corners of the earth. Why? Because Yahweh is going to show the world that he is the only Elohim. And the only way he can do that is by sending Israel to all these different places, because he's going to come and get all of us from wherever we're at. Anywhere you're scattered, he said, I'm coming to get you there. Why? So when he gets there, the nation will be like, uh-oh, that's Israel. Oh, that's their God. That's Yahweh. That's the God of Israel. And then they go say in Jeremiah chapter number 17, our ancestors inherited nothing but lies. Chapter 16, actually, sorry. Our ancestors inherited nothing but lies. What lies? That there was another Elohim. So this goes deep. That's why he's asking for you and I to go deep. Because if you and I go deep, and let me encourage you, Akoti Pam, you say you're not getting out more than what I'm getting out. Let me tell you something. I've been on this cycle of the Torah for the last 8 years. And what I'm telling you is every time you go on a cycle, you're going to get more out of it every time you go around in a circle. So I just pulled. Yes. So you just went on a cycle, right? So this might be your first cycle. Yes, and next time you come, you go get something else. And the next time you can be like, wait a minute, I've been here before. And you're going to get more, and you're going to get more, and you're going to get more, and you're going to get more. So all I'm showing you is, listen, I'm a sheep like you, right? So I've been eating. Now you're hanging out with me because that's what sheep do. Sheep are very social. Okay. So you're a sheep, I'm a sheep, Jared's a sheep, we're all sheep. So we're all going somewhere. And so I'm the guy, the leader, right? I'm the ram. I'm walking around and I'm showing you where I eat at. And because you're following me, you build a relationship with me, you're like, I want to eat what you eat. And we're like eating together now. So Yah share with me what he's sharing with you. He's just saying you're on a cycle now. Now you've got on the right road. Now just stay on this road and you're going to even eat more. And then you're going to get stronger and healthier. And then all of a sudden, the people that decide, oh, I like Occulti Pam and her family. I like Brother Jerry. I love them. And they say, well, what's going on in your life? You guys are so different. They're going to start like, what are you eating? You'd be like, I eat here. You know, if you eat right, you got your body looking right and everything. What you been up to? Oh, I've been in this and that. Now we talking about the Torah. So people say, man, you look so good. What's going on in your life? Well, this is what I'm eating. Physically and spiritually, this is what I'm eating. I'm eating the Torah. That's why I can sustain this. Okay. So be encouraged. You're on the right path, sis. You're right here eating along with everybody else. We're all eating today.
Praise
We're all
the
in the
Lord.
field. Because guess what? Yahweh Ro'eh. Yahweh is our shepherd. Yahweh Ro'eh, the Lord started to be noticed. Yahweh is our shepherd. I shall not want. I will not be diminished. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. He leads me beside still waters. Okay. So that's what he's doing. Right? He's taking us. He's the shepherd. So that's why we're all going here. That's why we're eating together. So how many sheep? We got about 12 sheep. We had 12 to 10 sheep. All of us are here. 12, 11 sheep. We're all a little flock, his little flock. And he said, okay, come here. And then we're going there. Then he says, okay, I need to tell you guys about this today. You know, this is what you need to understand because you're my people. So I need you to redirect your attention. So we talked about some stuff today. You know what I'm saying?
We did, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Praise the Holy One of Israel.
Praise the Holy One of Israel. Anyone else? All right. Well, praise the Holy One of Israel. I would like to invite any of you. Kel's been on my class. He's gone right now, but he'll be back. I have a class for a Hebrew class. Okay. And I sent out and we actually got documentation. So I'm in a lesson. We just now today, I teach people all over the country, right? So I got people that have come in and we teach, and today will be at 4:00. Okay. I teach the Hebrew language. And so today I'm just now starting this new lesson on Hebrew verbs. So don't worry. Well, I don't know the verbs. I don't know the nouns. Well, you'll get to know it. You got to get seasoned. Doesn't matter. Don't have, well, it needs to be this, and that. Just come if you like. Today it's at 4:00. You can come back if you like. And I'll go over that for about an hour, hour and a half. It's a new lesson. You're more than welcome to come. Okay. So it can give you more understanding and you can eat you can really, really eat what the Holy One is laying down. We're picking up what he's laying down. Okay. So I wanted to invite you guys to that. So with that being said, I say Shabbat Shalom to you. And that's 4:00 Pacific Standard Time here in California. And it's on the same channel. Okay. And it doesn't cost you anything. And I send you the documents that I go over. So whatever lesson I do, I send it to you. And then you can study it on your own time during the week or whatever. Okay. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Yahweh, we thank you today for this wonderful occasion of spending this Shabbat in your presence. We thank you, Yahweh, Toda Rabbah, for the lakim, the food that you've given us, the manna that you've given us, our portion today. Oh, we thank you. You set this aside for us. Yes, we picked it up all week long, every single day. And today we had that double portion. Today we're resting in you. We love you. We've prepared ourselves for this day. Let us go outside. Let's look at the beautiful things that you created. Let us remember your great deeds and let's remember your mercy that you've shown unto 1,000 generations of those who love you and keep your commandments. I say, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of YISRAEL. Hallelujah. I'll see you guys.